Hey, Ange. Hey, my bookie. Hi, y'all already know I'm late, but I'm not late because I did go back and I rescheduled. I added like about 20 more minutes to the time frame that actually about 30, 40 more minutes. Hey, sis. Hey, critical. I'm much better, y'all. I am much better. I've been trying to sit up here and just be out here up in these streets trying to support everybody, and all the new channels and stuff like this. So man, I'm like, let me hurry up and get in this house. I literally just got back in the house, y'all. I come back, my son and got the laptop then about to go dead on 4%. I'm like, child, if you don't hurry up and give me that doggone charger so I can go on and get this live started. Yep. Well, I'm just getting up in here, y'all, and we gonna get started. We gonna wait a little bit. How's everybody doing? Hey, Ange, how you doing, baby? Critical, how you been? Brittany, hey, love. Hey. It's good to see y'all. I miss being on here with y'all, for real. I've been going through it, child. They tried to take me out. But God say, and I Miss Mill. You doing much better. That is awesome. I'm doing much better as well. I need to change my thing at the bottom. Oh no, I know what that is. That's cool. And you say definitely have to come to support my girl. Period. You know how we do it. I'm like, man, what was it last week or the week before? I then went live almost every day that week, and then I ended up taking a week off. And then hey, I'm back now. I am back. I'm ready. I got to get these contents. I got about 4 days of content that I need to share with y'all. And we're gonna get it cracking. We're gonna get it cracking. These YouTube streets been hot. I say, yeah, it's probably better that I do stay on up out of the way. I'm gonna let this heat bypass. Hey, open book. Hey, baby. You say you were sick for 2 weeks? Oh wow, girl, I was sick those for a couple of weeks too. I was so glad when I got over my little cold and stuff. It was crazy. It was crazy. She just got done sitting up and texting me, asking me what time I was going. She like, it's almost 10 o'clock. I'm getting sleepy. I say, child, I am coming. I'm coming. She say, don't let Kate too much. Most definitely. Let me see what her tail is. Definitely out here. You got the worst headache ever. Oh my God. Hey, I am that somebody. Hello, beautiful. Hello. Welcome to Keep It Cute family. Child, I know y'all seen that little diss record, Miss Love. Hey. Welcome. I know y'all heard that little diss record from Chris Brown, child. I'm gonna be for the rest of 2024. I'm gonna be Chris Brown and folks around these parts, honey. You say you saw this story? It is. I was with there she go. Hey, Ro. Get out my line. I'm here. Oh Lord. Like for real, Miss Love. I had a debate on which I had about three different subjects I wanted to talk about. And I'm like, let me just go ahead and get this one out the way because basically this case is closed already, but I did want to share it with everybody else. Depending on how everything goes, we might end up going into another subject. I know it is a weekday and folks have to work, but we'll see how everything work out. We will definitely see how everything work out. Okay, so we've been up in here. It's almost 7 minutes. The first thing I'm gonna do, y'all, is for the ones I ain't get a chance to let Miss Sexy or Cancer know. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read this. I'm gonna read this brief read this little briefing on this story on this particular case. So we are speaking about, hold on. Let me share my screen and stuff first. Let me pull this up that way. Y'all are, it'll already be pulled up. So what's been going on? I hope y'all been out here in these streets keeping it cute and staying up out of trouble. I really hope so. For the most part, you know, for the small things, I mean the small for the most part, I've been seeing y'all really just keeping it cute and staying out of trouble. So that's what's up. That is what's up. And y'all know these streets can get a little messy, hunty. A little messy. Definitely ain't trying to get into none of that. We got to protect our peace, y'all. Have to protect our peace. Okay, I'm just pulling up my first video. Cause I'm not gonna go through that whole trial and all this. I'm not doing that. Cause I do want to be able to make. I'll probably just upload the trial for anybody that wants to look at it. Because that trial is like almost 7 hours long. I'm not doing it. So I'll probably just upload it. Okay. Okay, so now that I got that, I got it pulled up. And then I'm going to get into this briefing. Coming back to y'all. Okay, what I missed? Yes, child, Miss Love, you got to stay in them bushes, honey. Them bushes be crowded and everything, but look, it is what it is. Yes, Angie, run from the drama. Run, run, run. Stay away. Protect your peace. Seriously. Because the stuff that be going on out here in the real world, baby, YouTube drama ain't got nothing on what's going on out here in this real world. That's for a fact. There her go. Hey, Miss Sexy. Hey, sis. There she go. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this briefing, y'all. We are speaking on Breonna Shantae Williams, the case of Breonna Shantae Williams. She's a former Jacksonville, Florida Navy Chief Petty Officer who was sentenced to life in prison for murder of her 5-year-old daughter, Taylor Rose Williams, in 2019. Williams was originally charged with child neglect and lying to police, but pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in March 2022. The judge concluded that Williams starved Taylor to death and that she then buried her in a makeshift grave near Demopolis, Alabama, and falsely reported her disappearance. Williams was arrested after search teams found Taylor's remains in Demopolis in November 2019, and she took a plea deal later that year. In court, Williams said, "I didn't immediately call the police, and when I finally called, I lied and lied some more. I didn't take any timely opportunity to right my wrongs." She also said, "I apologize to everyone affected by this tragedy." Breonna Shantae Williams had a duty to care for her daughter, Taylor. The judge told her, but she failed to do so as the 5-year-old just wasted away in Jacksonville. Then she secretly stowed the child's body in the trunk of her vehicle, buried her in a crude Alabama grave, and falsely reported her disappearance. Let me see who all just came in. Hey, Boots. Hey, Boots. Hey, Troy. What's up, baby? Who else I miss? Okay, so yes, that's the briefing for this, and then we're gonna go ahead and yes, that it is evil, bro. We're gonna go ahead and get this started. Let me share my screen because I do want to be able to share with y'all another story. So I'll probably just do this particular video, and then I'll probably go and switch to a different subject because I do want to kind of mix it up a little bit. Also, with the mods, matter of fact, Boost, you still a mod. Boost, can you please put your link up in the chat to your page? Blueberry Boost, y'all, she has a page. She just started a page also. Can you please put your link up in the chat? Also, any of the other mods, anybody else, please, y'all can put SOS. That's Miss Love page as well. So these content creators that's in the chat, can y'all please put them put that link in there so people can follow their pages. Okay, we finna get started, y'all.
The majority of the following footage has never been seen before. Police became involved in the situation after 27-year-old Brianna Shantae Williams made this 911 call around 7 a.m. on November 6th, 2019.
What's going on?
I do not know where my daughter is.
Did she run away?
No,
Where was she last seen?
she was here with me.
What was she wearing?
A purple shirt and like pink pajamas, like a t-shirt. She was
The pants were pink?
Say again?
Okay, just stay on the line with me. Do you know where she could have gone?
No.
Have you checked?
Like she just came home. I just picked her up on Halloween night. She was with my mom in Alabama.
Okay, have you checked the house?
Yes.
Okay. Did she have a favorite hiding spot in the house? Like under
No.
the bed?
I checked on her there.
Okay, let's check again. Go to her bedroom. Let's check her closet. Nobody else in the house has seen her?
No, it's just me and her.
All right, are you in her room? Okay. Check under her bed again.
This entire interaction was odd, but thankfully, officers soon arrived on scene and were able to begin trying to piece together what exactly was going on.
You call, ma'am? All right. Okay, is this your address here? Okay, hey, tell us what happened.
I woke up this morning and started getting up from work. She wasn't in her room.
Okay. Have you had any problems with anybody? Okay. Anything unusual? Okay. Do you live by yourself? Okay. The father of the child. He's not in her life. Okay. I'm sorry. Father of the child is not.
He's in Alabama.
He's here.
Alabama.
He's in Alabama. Okay. So. Any problems with anyone else as far as any custody dispute between you and him? No? Okay. All right. Has she done this before as far as anything like try to leave or get out or mess with locks or anything like that? Okay. Show me which door was locked real quick. Or unlocked. Was it the back door? Okay.
You say move in or?
Yes.
Okay. When did you move in?
Like, I started moving stuff. Well, I signed a lease back in June, but the place kept getting broken.
693,
So I didn't want to move here, but the guy was like, they can't put me in that place.
Okay. When did you actually move in? In June or?
No, like a week ago, a few days ago.
Okay. Today's Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay. Did you move in, let's say, over the weekend?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Actually, Brianna and Taylor had only moved in 3 days ago on November 3rd. Apparently, since June, Brianna had been paying rent on 2 properties, this house and an apartment across town. Police would get into the details of why she would want to do this later, because as you can see, she seemed more interested in her phone.
So you said she does not go to school?
She does not go to school.
And we last saw her at midnight.
When she put her to bed. Who normally takes care of her when you're not available?
When I'm not, she's with my mom
Where's your mom at?
in Alabama.
Well, I'm just saying, because she's not in school, like daycare wise. Where she go? Or,
Oh, she was with my mom. I just picked her up on Halloween.
okay.
Halloween was actually a week ago, so she didn't exactly just pick her up.
Grandma. What's the dad's name?
Amari Tate.
Officers managed to get Brianna off her phone long enough for her to share contact details for Taylor's grandmother and biological father. Both Taylor's grandmother and biological father would need to be followed up with, but right now, the focus was kept local. Law enforcement from all over the city started to arrive on Ivy Street as several of the first responders searched the house. While they didn't find any obvious evidence, they definitely noticed a few things out of place.
It's kind of odd with her.
It's more than one. She had that.
Right. There's more than one gun out.
So the guns were out?
Yes. Well, you see them right now, there's guns that are out.
Okay.
There's a shotgun out, there's a pistol out, and then there's an empty holster on the kitchen area.
Taylor's bed, a pair of slippers, and an open box of crackers were found in one of the bedrooms. Her jacket and backpack were in the kitchen, next to a pack of unopened air fresheners. Besides this, though, there was nothing. No toys, no drawings, no family photos. The police likely had to wonder if this was just a reflection of the recent move, or possibly something more sinister. When looking closely at Taylor's bed, police noticed a reddish-brown substance on the side of the plastic headboard. A similar stain was found on the bedroom door. Fearing it could be blood, they did a quick field test called Hemodent, which tests for the presence of mammal blood. The result was negative, but the officers would keep the stain in mind as the investigation continued. Investigators looked through every inch of the house, but didn't find the little girl. Besides being unlocked, the back door showed no signs of forced entry or other damage. Back outside with Brianna, the officers thought of another place to search.
Is this your vehicle? Okay. Can you open it up for me? Does she have a favorite toy or anything like that she normally takes with her? Mr. Bear?
Man, you have a recent picture of it?
There were more signs of the little girl in the car than inside the house, including a pink unicorn in the back seat. Something about the car, though, made the officer pause. For some reason, the officer felt the need to give the car a sniff test. When looking inside, police also found some cleaning products and a pair of women's sneakers covered in plant matter. They also might have noticed that while the body of the car was cluttered, the trunk was almost perfectly tidy. Unfortunately, the police wouldn't know the significance of this until a more in-depth search of the car was conducted. For now, it was as if Taylor had simply vanished into thin air.
All units, be on the lookout for Taylor Rose Williams, Bravo Foxtrot, approximately 3 foot in height, 50 pounds. She was wearing a pink and purple t-shirt.
Determined to find Taylor, the police launched a neighborhood-wide search effort. Ivy Street, as well as multiple adjacent roads, were taped off. K-9 units were deployed to track Taylor's scent, but were unsuccessful. Even a helicopter was used to canvass the area, with an equally frustrating lack of results. An Amber Alert was sent out, asking people to be on the lookout for Taylor. Unfortunately, the first attempt used the wrong name, claiming that the missing child was named Brianna. This was corrected in a subsequent alert.
This is a picture of a young lady.
You remember seeing a little girl here? Never seen her.
I saw him the other day, but I never seen the kid. I've
Never saw a
seen
kid.
a little girl.
Huh.
All trash pickup was halted for the neighborhood. Any refuse that had already been removed was recovered from the trucks and spread out for police to comb through. This would eventually provide the most promising lead, but it was just going to take time and a strong stomach to find it. It would take quite a while for officers to find anything of substance as they canvassed the neighborhood, though. So for the time being, the investigation proceeded in other directions, too. Brianna was brought in for an interview, and police hoped she could give them a better idea of how her 5-year-old daughter managed to apparently drop off the face of the earth. The following footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed professional counselor, a former detective, licensed polygraph examiner, and former hostage negotiation commander and instructor, and a certified crime scene investigator, certified instructor for the State of Florida Commission on Criminal Justice Standards, and a graduate in crime scene investigations for violent crimes. Almost immediately, it looks like she gets comfortable, as if she's ready for a nap. Her daughter has been missing for hours, yet she doesn't appear panicked. Frequently, when a child is missing, a lot of officers' efforts have to go towards calming a parent down. But clearly, that wasn't the case here. This was just the beginning of Brianna's strange behavior. After almost 45 minutes, detectives arrived to speak with Brianna, disrupting her apparently peaceful slumber.
Hey, Brianna. We're back again. You all right? You need anything? Water, anything? You okay? You need to go to the restroom or anything? You good? You sure? All right. I'm sorry we had to meet under these stressful circumstances. I'm gonna, Officer Whitaker's with our missing persons unit, right? Well, based on the investigation, the age of your child and everything going on, I'm also a detective, but I'm assigned to our cold case unit, which also I'm part of the CART team, which is the Child Abduction Response Team. So, and I don't want to stress you out on that. Listen to me. Look, I just want to explain what I do, all right, and what resources, okay? I mean, Missing Persons is doing an outstanding job. We can extend a little bit more than that, okay? And we have a little bit more specialty on that. So that's how I get involved, because we don't know what happened, okay? We don't know what's going on. We don't know after she left out of the house what happened to her. So this could be a criminal investigation. You understand what I'm saying, hon? Look at me. Listen to me, okay? We're doing everything we can. We got everybody out there looking for her, okay? We've got everything going, but I want to make sure we cover everything.
As detectives continued to speak with Brianna, officers worked relentlessly and spoke with the residents in the vicinity.
Something going wrong?
She's missing. The little girl supposedly that lives here is missing. You remember seeing a little girl here?
I've never seen her.
Never seen her. You're the second person that said that. So. And how long have they lived there, you said, do you think? Just to estimate, a week, month?
I've seen her coming and going. I've never seen her physically, but I see the car here coming and going. Like this whole weekend that passed, nobody was here. That car was not here. That car just got here at least like 2 days ago, if that.
Right.
Morning. Sorry to bother you. Hey, we're looking for a little girl. Have you seen a 5-year-old wearing pink and purple, short fro?
Never seen her before.
No, I don't think I've seen her at all.
After these introductions, Brianna was read her Miranda rights, though she wasn't under arrest.
Okay, so Brianna, like I said, we were going to talk to a lot of people today, and let's just start from the very beginning. Okay? I can't, you got to speak a little bit louder so we can hear you.
My alarm went off at 5:30, and I got up like around maybe like a little before 6. And then I just went on here and started getting dressed because it's just me and Taylor in the house. She gets up, even if we're not going anywhere, she's like, where we're going. I'm like, okay. So I didn't even bother, messing with her because I know eventually she's going to get up and start getting dressed. And then I went over to the kitchen, and then I noticed that the back door was open. I'm like, we're not open, but it was unlocked. I'm like, why is the back door unlocked? And that's when I went to her room, and she wasn't in there.
As the officers continued their interviews, one of the residents had curious information to share.
He left out of here about 5:30, 6 o'clock this morning. And right when they started putting up the tape and all.
That's the black male?
Yeah. He's in his about 20s or 30s, maybe late. He's been living here by himself. And this place is a mess.
Black male 20-ish.
Probably about 28. But yeah, this place is
The officer ran a background check on this suspicious individual who lived near the house where Brianna and Taylor just moved. As this was happening, investigators continued to gather more information from Brianna.
It was almost 7 o'clock.
Okay. So then you went into her room and you saw that.
She wasn't in her bed.
Mhm.
I looked up under, well, she got like a little baby bed, so she can't really fit underneath it, but I looked underneath it anyway. I checked her closet. Then I went in my room and looked underneath my bed. I know she wouldn't come in my room. Like I don't know, like she's very well mannered. Like she'll knock or ask to come in.
Okay.
And I checked in my bathroom. I checked my closet. She wasn't in there. So then I just started checking the cabinets, and she wasn't in there either. Like, okay, I'm gonna go outside, and I checked my car just to be, be sure that I definitely didn't leave her in the freaking car.
Okay.
So I looked underneath the car. She wasn't there either.
Note that there's no real emotion in Brianna's voice as she talks about looking for her child.
Okay, and then what?
Then I called 911.
Okay.
I can't find her.
Okay. What time did you see her before then?
It was like around midnight.
Brianna said that Taylor put herself to bed around midnight. While this wasn't impossible, the late hour and Taylor's alleged independence likely struck investigators as unusual given her age. However, this was nothing compared to the strange turn Brianna's story took next.
Did you check on her prior to you going to sleep?
No.
Okay, so you assume that she was asleep? Okay. Did you hear any noise coming from her room or anything like that?
Not from her room, but there were like, I can't even explain it. Like there were like when you're dragging something or you move something, but it was coming from upstairs. And either way, like I'll just grab my gun and walk around to make sure okay, there's nobody in here.
Coming from upstairs of the house that you're in?
And there are no stairs. That's the part that I didn't understand, but it definitely sounded like it was coming from the roof.
Okay.
Did you wake up hearing this noise?
Yes, like the little whatever noise it was. It sounded like it changes. Like sometimes I can hear like near where I sleep. Sometimes it's like back towards the kitchen area.
Okay, and it sounded like dragging noise.
Yes, it's like somebody's moving something or walking.
So you said you grabbed your gun. So you have
Yes,
a gun?
I grabbed my gun and
Did you check the house?
Yes, I walk around the open spaces that I know people can come in.
Did you go outside and check?
I didn't go.
Okay, so you just checked around the house?
Yes.
Did you go in your daughter's room at that time and look at in?
No.
Okay.
Brianna said that she didn't see anything amiss when she searched the house and that all the doors were still locked. Still, if she was alarmed enough to arm herself before walking through the house, it makes no sense that she wouldn't take a few seconds to check on her sleeping child. Some of the officers and residents shared a similar sentiment.
I hope they exhausted the parental angle. You know what I'm saying?
Knocking on every door we can.
What kind? Okay, now that she was missing since midnight.
Yeah, purple PJs on. The back door was probably open.
Why mother don't check on the child? My son and grandson stay with us, and my son is 36. As a habit, I go right past the room to make sure he's still breathing.
Right.
So, if you heard the noise, why did you say you didn't go into her room?
Because I had a gun. I didn't want to go up in there. Then she got bars on her window, so I just assumed like you can't get in there.
You said you don't like guns around her, but are they laid out like that? So she's
not normally. Like when she sleep, then yes, I put them out because, like I said, like the place they're broken into, so I sleep with my guns like right there.
Police left the matter alone for the time being and switched to a different topic. Once again, though, the conversation didn't go as they were likely expecting.
What do you think happened this morning?
I don't know.
Where do you think she's at?
I have no clue because she wouldn't leave. And I don't even know, like, did they find Mr. Bear? Because she won't go anywhere without that thing.
What?
This little pink teddy bear, she calls him Mr. Bear.
The Mr. Bear angle was potentially helpful, as it was something the searchers could keep a lookout for. By this point, police were likely realizing that something...
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. So it's bars on the baby window. She heard something, but she didn't sit up here and go check on her baby. Not only that, she had the audacity to ask that they find Mr. Bear, her daughter's favorite bear. Girl, you worried about a doggone bear. Where's your child at? How did anybody get up in your house, and you sitting up here talking about a doggone bell. Where's your child? That's the first thing I noticed when she stood up here and said that she didn't go up in the room and go check on her child, but she suspected that somebody was basically trying to break in. Girl, boo.
Something was seriously wrong. What that was exactly remained to be seen.
Where were you staying prior to this address?
The south side address.
And how long did you live at the south side address?
We were there for like a year and a half.
Okay. And why were you moving? Why were you moving?
Because I wanted to move to a different area. Like I always do this. I did this in Virginia. Like I live in Norfolk, then like a year later I moved to Virginia Beach.
Okay.
It's out of habit. I just like to move.
So when was your lease up at the south side address?
In May.
So your lease was up in May, but you were still living there?
Yes. It was up. It went to month because I was supposed to put in a notice. They wanted a 60-day notice, and I kept forgetting to put it in.
Brianna also said that as she was preparing to move to the house on Ivy Street, a large problem with the residents became evident.
Because I was actually like trying to prepare to move out, and I went back like around the 4th of July.
To which?
Like to the Ivy place, and that's when I saw like the back door was open, and like somebody had moved the refrigerator outside. So I called the property manager because I thought maybe, he was like renovating or something. He didn't tell me, but he was like, no. So he went ahead and changed the locks.
So for 6 months, you had 2 residents.
Yes.
What 3 days ago made you need to move urgently if you were there if you had both places for 6 months?
That was the day that I actually was like able to find movers, because that was the whole issue. I was like, I didn't know which company am I going to go for. I had been asking around. It was like, just ask people for work. Like, no, I don't want to ask people.
But you found someone from Craigslist, right?
Yes.
Which you say you do everything from Craigslist. A lot of things.
Majority, like.
So why hadn't you done that 6 months ago?
Just never crossed my mind.
Police would come to find that many things concerning the investigation didn't seem to cross her mind. What they would find when they searched her other residence too would leave them shocked.
So on Sunday, you get a hold of movers.
Yes.
Okay.
Did they take everything?
Just the big things.
Why didn't you, if you were paying them, why didn't they take everything?
Oh, because it was last minute. I hadn't packed everything, like clothes and stuff. Most of the clothes and stuff is still there.
Okay. So what was the urgency? Why couldn't you wait to find a mover once you had everything packed up and ready to go so that you can move everything in one go round?
I didn't even think about that.
We're going to call the movers. We're going to call your mom, and we're going to verify some information. Okay. You know where this is going to lead to?
No.
Okay. So the movers, it was pretty abrupt. You needed to be out of that house that day, Sunday, according to the conversation that one of my partners had with the detective, with the movers. Okay. What was what was the urgency?
It wasn't urgent.
According to the movers, it was,
that
I had to be out today.
I've been telling that.
Okay. All right.
Nothing Brianna is saying is making sense, and it's hard to believe she would think the detective would believe her, but they don't confront her yet.
Anybody take care of the 5-year-old, of your daughter?
Here, no. Well, she was going to the CDC on base.
Okay.
So she kindergarten and the CDC.
When was the last time she was at CDC? I'm sorry if I'm asking you some questions.
Like May.
Last there in May?
June, yeah.
When police checked with the daycare on base, the administration office told them that Taylor had last been there on April 27th and was officially withdrawn shortly after. They also shared that Taylor had previously been in speech therapy. When police checked in with the therapist's office, they likely noticed a concerning pattern. Taylor had attended regularly for 13 weeks, but then never came back. After 2 no-show appointments, she was discharged from the system at the beginning of May.
And I understand she was in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, she was with my mom.
Okay. Your mom, who's your mom?
Carissa.
Carissa. And how long was she in Tuscaloosa? When did she go there?
That was off and on. She's been there pretty much all summer, actually.
So you went down there to pick her up and brought her back here for one day?
Over the weekend.
Because
it's only like 7-8 hour drive. I used to drive from Virginia to Alabama over a weekend, and that's 17 hours.
Okay.
So you bring her back on the 31st. How long was that visit?
That one was since the beginning of October.
So the full month she stayed in October with your mom, Carissa.
And prior to you dropping her down there October 1st, or the first part of October, when was the last time she was there before then?
Like the first week of September, she was here. I think whenever the storm hit.
Would your mom be able to tell us what days when she last saw your daughter? 'Cause I think we have her number, right?
Yeah.
So if we call her, she's gonna say that she saw her in the month of August.
Yeah.
Brianna had no way to know that the police had already spoken with her mother, and they would confront her with what Carissa told them soon enough.
Okay, so when she was here with you during the weeks or weekends and you had to work, who was watching her?
Oh, no, like when she was here, like those days that I'm off. So no one is watching her besides me.
So since you've gotten back on the 31st, you have not been to work?
No,
Okay.
I'm still on leave.
You're
Well,
on
I'm
leave.
leave until this morning.
How long have you been on leave?
It's been since October the 29th or 30th. The 28th, I'm not sure.
You would take her to your mom every time?
Yes, or I just leave her there. That's why I was like, I couldn't, the back and forth, and I didn't want anybody else watching her. Like, I don't know people here like that.
But you were going to take her to the lady you met on Craigslist today to watch her. Okay.
Y'all, she was going to have somebody that she met on Craigslist to watch her baby. Can y'all please make this make sense? Help me out.
When searching Brianna's phone, police had come across communications between her and the woman she'd found on Craigslist to watch Taylor. When police followed up with the woman, she told them that Brianna had texted her this morning to say her services wouldn't be needed after all. This was only one of the many discrepancies police would find in Brianna's story.
You said your hours changed. So did you change positions or your job title or what?
No, just the hours.
What is the norm? What is it supposed to be?
Oh, I don't know the rotation.
You don't know your rotation at work?
Not the duty hour rotation.
So you don't know. You couldn't tell me right now when you were going to be on call next?
If I had my planner, I could, but no. My planner on my phone, put them in there.
So
I think Friday would be the next time I had duty because I was on leave. So
Standing duty was part of Brianna's job as an enlisted Navy personnel. This tended to be a 12-hour shift, once or twice a week. The fact that Brianna didn't know her duty schedule, especially since she claimed she would have had to arrange childcare whenever she was scheduled, was odd. However, this paled in comparison to what police were about to reveal.
They called your mom. She hasn't seen your daughter since January.
yes, she has.
Okay, why would she say that?
October.
Why would she say that? This is Carissa. This is your mom.
That's my mom.
Why would she say that?
She would not say that.
In a subsequent interview, Carissa Williams repeated what
She doing all this doggone lying, but she gonna sit up here and tell the police that tell the investigators that her mama didn't say that. Girl, you was leaving that baby at home the entire time. Seriously, how she seeing in October, but your mother is sitting up here saying that she ain't seen her grandbaby since January. Stop playing. Stop playing. I can't believe like this is where our tax money is going to, y'all. Where people, instead of these people just enlisting, and they need to really get some mental evaluations going on with all of these people, especially the ones that has kids. You know what I mean? Like seriously, that baby ain't been up in no daycare, and she really just been on her own. She's been on her own. 5 years old.
what she told investigators that day on the phone. The implications were spine-chilling. Please note that the police department made redactions to remove Taylor's name from the recording.
So you hadn't heard from her in 2 years and talked to her?
Prior up to that, yes.
So out of the blue, in 2 years, she called you?
No, it didn't go quite like that.
Well, tell me how it went.
Yeah, he couldn't bring it in my personal business.
It's hard to imagine anything more personal than a missing grandchild, but Carissa still seemed reluctant to go into detail about what she knew.
I want you to understand the severity of what you're doing.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with me wanting you to understand the severity of what's going on is, I don't care about anybody's personal life. We are going to find, and whatever happens, whatever gets in the way between us, we're going to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a threat. That's a promise. Have you had any conversation with her about telling her commanding officer anything as far as you, if he calls you, that she was coming to get?
That's the part that I didn't get. That she did. This was just last week.
Tell me about that.
Now she did call whatever day that I want to say it was Halloween. I want to say it was actually the day of Halloween.
So last Thursday, 31st.
Yes. She told me that if he called to tell him that she was down to pick me up from me for Halloween. Mind you, I haven't seen it in 2 years. So I'm thinking like, well, okay, she just met this new guy. Maybe she, took a little time out to go meet him or whatever. And she just used that lie to get away. But I couldn't tell you. She said, so I'm like, where is, matter of fact, I asked her that day. I said, well, what's when she said, oh, she in the back seat. So I'm like, okay. But she never did put on and say, hey, I never did say anything.
Police followed up with the man Carissa.
So she just a compulsive liar. At the end of the day, she just literally a compulsive liar.
Alleged Brianna had recently started seeing, particularly since Brianna hadn't mentioned him and in fact insisted that she didn't have a boyfriend. However, he didn't have much information to share. He was only vaguely aware that Brianna had a daughter and assumed that the little girl had been staying with her father when he and Brianna were together. When police checked with Taylor's father, Maurice, he hadn't seen the little girl lately either. All he could tell them was that the last time he did see her at the funeral for Brianna's grandmother, he didn't think she was being fed enough, as she was very small. He added that he had a difficult time checking up on Taylor after that, though, as Brianna changed her phone number frequently. Maurice.
Okay, so this is my thing, y'all. And I'm starting to see that this is really starting to be a pattern with these, with a lot of mothers these days. Like, they don't want to take care of their baby and they slack up, they slack a lot from motherhood, but then yet the fathers, they be willing to take care of their child. And when they do see their child, they instantly notice a difference with, within, their child, no matter if they are lost a lot of weight, don't look too healthy, stuff that mother's supposed to see or should know from the get-go. The fathers see the stuff as well. But you have kept this child away from the grandmother and the father. You can't remember your work schedule or your duties schedule. You know what I mean? Like she just everywhere with it. Like what is the problem? She clearly could have gave the baby to the father. Like I can't get this wrapped around my head for nothing in the world, that these mothers sit up here and they rather just do this outlandish stuff towards these kids and these babies when there's other people that actually are willing to take care of the babies. Like, I really cannot get that.
Provided investigators with a DNA sample and said he was willing to assist in any way that he could. Back with Brianna's mother, Carissa told police that she'd previously watched Taylor for extended periods of time, but that ended when Brianna enrolled her in daycare on the naval base. The last time she'd seen the little girl in person was also at the funeral for Brianna's grandmother. Police weren't ready to believe Carissa just yet, however, due to some interesting evidence recovered from Brianna's phone.
I can tell you it's pinging at a tower in the vicinity of this area that it's pinging off of. What's throwing us for a loop right now is if she's living in Jacksonville, why is her phone pinging at all?
Despite this, Carissa swore that she hadn't seen Brianna or Taylor on Halloween. Police were still working on downloading the data from the GPS in Brianna's car to determine an exact route, so soon enough, they would know for sure who was telling the truth. The search of Brianna's phone turned up something else concerning too. Police found a text message conversation in which Brianna had told a former coworker in Virginia that Taylor had become a nightmare, as she was, according to her, stealing food and misbehaving. In Alabama, Carissa was so adamant of her innocence that she got Brianna's father, Wayne, on the phone to join the discussion and brainstorm what might be going on.
I don't understand why she would even lie and say that she was picked with her. Man, she lied on me. I've never been in trouble a day in my life.
She is lying. She's trying to cover up something. Not sure what it is. She is lying.
You have no idea what she's trying to cover up, though.
I have no idea what she's trying to cover up. That's the one thing I don't know.
Someone was lying, but whether it was Brianna or Carissa was yet to be determined, as was the exact reason of why. Investigators would follow up on the Alabama lead, but as promised, also caught up with the movers Brianna had hired on Craigslist. They had nothing reassuring to say either.
They never saw your daughter. They never saw you put her in the car. They never saw her at the other house. They never saw her. Why is that?
I didn't want them to see her.
Why not?
Because I don't know them like that.
Well, I mean, you're not introducing me to her, but how did you leave her at the house on Southside and then go to Ivy without her? They never saw her. They never saw you put her in the car. So what happened?
Nothing happened.
Well, where was your daughter?
She was with me.
She wasn't with you.
Yes, she was.
The two movers are saying that they never saw. They heard water running and you said that she was in there, but they never saw her.
If what the movers were saying was true, it seemed like Taylor hadn't been at either of Brianna's residences. Carissa said she hadn't seen the girl in 2 years, and the child care records on the Navy base showed that Taylor's attendance became spotty throughout the month of April, and she was officially withdrawn back in May, around 6 months before she was reported missing. A new horrifying question was quickly coming to the forefront of the investigation. When was the last time anyone besides Brianna had seen Taylor? Shockingly, the little girl's mother wasn't inclined to help answer this question.
I'm done with this. I don't want to talk about it. Yes, I am done because you're lying to me now. So
how am I lying to you? I'm not lying to you.
You just said that my mom, I literally picked my mom. I mean, not my mom.
I'm just telling you what my partner said. And I'd like to explain to you, but
I don't know where to get that from because I literally went down there.
Do you want to talk to the detectives? I spoke with her and then get that, find out what the information they gave.
I'm done with this because I don't know where this is going, but no. Like it's the second time this has happened. Like some other lady was like saying stuff that I didn't even say. Like she was twisting my words. Like no.
Brianna has no idea that her odd behavior was quickly becoming the least of the police's concern as they were searching her apartment at that very moment. Just like they'd done at Ivy Street, police canvassed the area and talked to Brianna's neighbors. Disturbingly, very few of them recalled ever seeing a little girl. One man who did, named Carlos Johnson, said he found Taylor roaming the apartment complex unaccompanied back on April 17, 2019, looking for her mother. He took her home only to find her wandering the parking lot again a few days later. Carlos said that Taylor didn't appear frightened or distressed, like the situation was familiar to her. He also told police that he would see her waving at him from her window at times when Brianna's car was gone, suggesting to him that the little girl was alone. If police thought this was bad, then they must have been horrified when they entered the apartment itself. From the outside, Brianna's apartment was unassuming and looked just like any of the others in the complex. But as soon as the door was open, it was clear that something awful had happened inside. The entryway to the apartment was filled with trash, as was the kitchen. It was so cluttered with random items and refuse that it was nearly unusable. The living room was not in any better condition, having been taken over by a heaping mountain of trash and personal belongings. It seemed no effort had been made to separate the two categories. There were children's toys and clothing included in the mess, most stained with what appeared to be feces. One of the toys in particular probably stood out to police, thanks to Brianna's description. A pink stuffed animal was found in the mountain of refuse, possibly Mr. Bear, the toy Brianna said Taylor refused to go anywhere without. Police would face a heartbreaking reason why Mr. Bear was there as they searched more of the apartment. Bleach and urine remover, along with more air fresheners, were also found in the apartment. If police thought the living room and kitchen were in bad condition, they were in for a shock when they entered the master bedroom. Police had to move more trash and soiled belongings to even gain entry into the room. The carpet was encrusted with filth, which appeared to include more human waste. When they opened the closet, the situation changed from merely disgusting to horrific.
Just
want
want clarity.
Later, but not. It's a late day. I just want my baby home,
And that's what we're trying to do.
Well, the whole thing, because there's no way my mom would tell you she hadn't seen us since January. Like what?
And that's what I'm asking you. Do you want to continue to talk to us about what's going on?
I do not right now. No, like this is going too far. Like,
okay, so you don't want to answer any questions as to the whereabouts of your daughter.
I don't know where she is. If I
Well,
did,
and
I
I'm trying to get the
wouldn't be
background.
here.
Yes or no?
I've told you everything that I know. Like I don't know.
But you don't want to answer any more questions?
My mom is on her way here now. My mom is on her way here now.
Okay. Do you want to answer any?
You want to talk to her when she gets here? You can talk to her when she.
But you don't want to talk to us anymore.
I do not want to talk.
Okay.
I need to call my job.
Well, we'll take care of that for you. Do you need anything like a bathroom or water or anything like that?
I need to talk to legal.
Don't offer her no water. Don't offer her nothing. Matter of fact, while y'all at it, they need to snatch that doggone their uniform up off of her. She don't need nothing. She got some nerve to sit up here and try to catch her attitude. Your child missing. You done did something to your child, and you sitting up here trying to call somebody a liar, and everybody a liar but you. But you sitting up here telling all these doggone lies. Child, put me in the room with her. Just give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes so I can Chris Brown her ass. I'm mad now. Got some nerve to try to get mad. Girl, boo.
I was going to talk to them about the lease.
Okay. Do you need water? Do you need a bathroom or anything like that right now? If you need anything, knock on the door.
The detectives would revisit Brianna in a bit, but went to check in on other aspects of the investigation. By this time, it was no longer just the Jacksonville police involved in the search. They'd been joined by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department, the Alabama Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and even the Naval Criminal Investigation Service, or NCIS. Additionally, the neighborhood canvass around Ivy Street continued the whole time Brianna was at the police station. Just before 10:30 p.m., officers in the area ran into a surprise visitor.
What's your relation? Tate Smith. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. It's short. Again, the sergeant really, we don't have much to say right now. If you want, you can go down that way to our sick command post and, let them know your relation. But there's, I don't have any information. Looks like you can't tell me where she is.
Back at the police department, Brianna was still in the interrogation room. If she was worried about her daughter or even concerned about what police might find when searching her apartment, she did a fantastic job of hiding it. She was left waiting, but found a few ways to help pass the time, including fixing her nails, redoing her hair, and going to sleep. 4 more hours went by, during which Brianna again attempted to get some sleep in the interrogation room.
Why am I still in here?
I'll get some answers for you. You're just gonna have to need your patience for now. We're all kind of sitting around and working diligently. We're not really sitting around doing nothing, but I'll get some answers for you. Okay?
My commandos?
Yes, I do believe so. So
I've been here all day.
I know. Just be patient with us, please.
Unluckily, when a fresh set of detectives came in, it seemed 8 hours of timeout hadn't made Brianna any more cooperative.
Hey, I'm just Deborah, Detective Deborah. A couple things we need to go over with you real quick. You're gonna be free to go. However, you're not gonna be able to go back to Ivy Street or Southside tonight, and we still have your phone. So who do you need to contact, or can we take you somewhere, or what do you what's the best option for you?
Jail. Take your ass straight to jail. No way.
Brianna never came up with any options of her own, so the police called her command, who sent a petty officer from the base to come pick her up. Notably, over a total of more than 11 hours spent at the police station, Brianna never once asked for an update on the search for her daughter. When Brianna's mother, Carissa, heard about her daughter's lack of cooperation, she was perplexed.
Why wouldn't she want to talk when her is missing?
You know her better than I do.
Because
I've
some of
never
the
seen her.
things, a lot of, well, I can't even say some of the things, a lot of the things just not adding up.
We can agree on that.
Investigators also asked Carissa some questions about Brianna's personality in general to see if it would help make sense of her odd behavior.
How is she? Is she like an emotional person?
Do she shut down if she feel like it's getting too much?
No, I'm just saying if something traumatic happened, is she one that's going to show emotions? Use an example. Your mama's funeral. How was she doing that?
Well, she didn't cry.
No, she didn't cry.
No.
Brianna was reportedly very close to her maternal grandmother, who had raised Brianna for a large portion of her childhood. The fact that Brianna did not express grief at the time of her death may have stood out to police as eerily similar to her behavior in the interrogation room. Investigators also learned that Brianna was known to visit her grandmother's gravesite in Alabama regularly. So regularly, in fact, that more than one friend suggested the police search that area for Taylor too. And that's exactly what they did. Over the next week, the search expanded from Jacksonville, Florida to the area surrounding Linden, Alabama. Before Carissa's interview concluded, police had one last question for her, probably the hardest one yet.
If she did something by accident, would she tell you?
I'm sure that's why I wanted to talk to her.
The investigation continued on for the rest of the week. The mounting evidence police collected was far from reassuring. None of it, however, led them to Taylor. Growing desperate, police decided to try talking to Brianna a different way. Since Brianna's father, Wayne, had been cooperative so far, detectives asked them to make a controlled call to Brianna to see if he could learn anything. It didn't go well.
Yeah, I've been thinking, and I was wondering, is there anything you can do? Anything you remember? Anybody look wrong or anything? You know somebody that might help?
Everything I know.
You know everything with your phone?
I mean, even other than that, but they know everything I know.
Okay. What's in your phone? Sometimes, like, what would help us?
I don't have anything extra.
Like,
They
what,
literally have everything.
like, what we need to find? So I'm saying, if you tell me that, I can call them. See what I'm saying? I still got to check the number down, check the K number. I can call him and tell him what to look for in your phone.
Well, how am I supposed to know what to look for on my phone?
Yeah, but I thought.
Man, I don't want to talk about this right now. I'm trying to go to sleep. Like, I don't know what else to tell y'all. Y'all keep calling me and asking me the same questions over and over again. Like, trust me.
Brianna's annoyance raises a host of red flags. What she did next, though, stood out the most.
You said everything's in your phone, but what else can it do to find it?
Look, I don't know.
Yeah, but shut up on me. I can't believe she hung up on me.
Police had better luck when they recruited two of Brianna's closest friends, Chelsea and Dorielle, to also try and make a controlled call.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
You just been resting today?
Yeah, I'm going to well. Go by the work.
Chief said anything to you today?
No. He called and asked if I needed something from the commissary, but that was it.
You ain't talked to your dad or anything today?
No. Yeah? No.
Did he go back?
Yeah.
Is your mama gonna come down?
I have no clue.
You're so quiet. You miss us already?
No.
You don't miss us?
That messed up, bro.
Just because you're mad. I'm gonna touch the damn thing.
Anything been on your mind today? You had anything on your mind today?
No.
With Taylor's disappearance so fresh in everyone's minds, there had to be a reason that the case wasn't weighing on Brianna. As was becoming typical, she didn't seem inclined to share what that reason was.
Like, ain't no like coverage on Taylor no more. Like, everything kind of like died down. Like, we like super kind of nervous that they just count them in there. Like, people didn't forgot. Like, basically, they just like they moving on in the world. And
what? They just gonna forget her?
We need you to say something because like that's the only thing I feel like that'll bring like some light back to her story. Some.
Well, we really just want to know just what's going on. We still like, you know, we're gonna be there for you. But we want to be there so we want to know what's going on for that closure.
I don't even know what's going on.
You ain't heard nothing?
No, like nobody talks to me. Like the only time somebody call for me is like, oh, what y'all doing? I'm doing. I don't know. I'm pretty sure my chief is doing it to make sure I'm not ending off myself because he calls like very randomly. People coming knocking on the door like, "Oh, you're not home living for, bro. You know what room this is. Like, don't do that."
Yeah.
Especially you're the CDO too. Like, you're the the duty person.
Yeah.
I know why you're here. Don't act like you just popped up here.
Time would soon reveal that the Navy command had been more on top of things than anyone could have imagined. Brianna's co-workers weren't the only ones who'd been attempting to check up on her.
Did your mama come down there? Because she had told us that, well, she had told your daddy that she was coming down yesterday. She been coming since Wednesday.
I was about to say she's been coming there since the day that it happened.
But, like, she just
I've given up on her. Like, I don't know what the hell going on with my mom.
I think you might need to ask her, like, why y'all story is different. Like, why you saying that if she, she really was here? Mm-hmm. What that's about? You need to ask her that.
Good, you think I'm gonna get her true answer after all this?
I don't know, but you don't want to at least want to know why she's saying that? Like, what is her reasoning?
I mean, I do, but do y'all really believe she's gonna tell the truth? She hasn't told the truth yet.
I don't know what her reasoning is for this to keep the.
Bruh, you the one ain't told the damn truth. Why you saying, girl? Y'all, this is a lot. I mean, her emotion, no showing no type of emotion, no remorse. It's like she mad at other people for them only speaking for whatever that they know, but she know everything and sitting up here just lying, steady lying the entire time, not caring whatsoever. She laughing and all kinds. They talking about some doggone commissary. Is y'all for real right now? It couldn't be. They couldn't be my friend. Could not be my friend. I don't want no friends like that at all, period. I don't care. My child message, what you sitting up here talking to me for? Go out there and go look for my baby. Real talk.
The lie going for so long. Because
I mean, it's too late now. She can't backtrack.
Chelsea and Doriel then asked Brianna about the possibility of there being evidence in the apartment she left when she moved to the house on Ivy Street.
Do you think it's something maybe in the old apartment that they'll find that'll help? Like,
no.
Because
if they did, they would have found her. Remember, they done closed out both of them. They've been closed out for 3 days, 4 days, almost a week.
Police had, in fact, found shocking evidence in Brianna's apartment, specifically the bedroom closet. Brianna had to have guessed what they'd found, but still chose to remain silent on the matter.
So, Brianna, you hadn't thought about, like, her just being out there by herself? You know she's scared of everything. Like, that, you don't think about that?
Girl, I don't want to think about that right now.
I mean, well, I've been thinking about it.
Okay, then don't think about that.
It's cold. That's kind of why I think I can't sleep knowing that it's, and you know how innocent she was. Like, she really cling to the people she know. I think that's why it's eating me up so much.
That's why you locked up, Heifer. What you mean you don't want to talk about it? Y'all, all of these red flags, like this just probably motivated the police and everybody, to actually find this baby, find out exactly what happened and get down to the bottom of it, because the way her attitude is very unusual. Like, I've never seen this type of attitude coming from a mom, who child just sit up here and just supposedly just disappeared. Like, this is outrageous. This is crazy.
Hauntingly, Brianna's only response was silence.
If he think it's a good idea, would you be okay talking to detectives again?
Yes.
Yeah. The same ones, or you want some new ones?
Oh, yeah, no, not that lady.
Okay, bruh, that's what I was going to ask you, man.
I'm talking to that lady.
Based on Brianna's lack of cooperation and some other concerning evidence that would be addressed soon, police decided to place her under round-the-clock surveillance. It didn't take long for this to pay off. Early on November 11th, just 5 days after Taylor went missing, Brianna was seen donating some of Taylor's belongings. This included stuffed animals, clothes, and even some unopened packages of toys. Around the same time, the efforts of all the officers digging through countless heaps of trash finally paid off. They stumbled upon a box addressed to Brianna, along with certificates from the Navy with her name on them. This wasn't what they were most interested in, however. Also in the trash were several notes from the daycare center on the Navy base, requesting a change of clothes and a toothbrush for Taylor. In the trash, police also found several art projects, which police assumed had been made by Taylor. One of the projects was a handmade card from Taylor to her mother. Why Brianna didn't want these items, especially when her daughter was missing, was a mystery. There was also still the issue of what was discovered in the closet in Brianna's apartment. To say it was disturbing would be a massive understatement. One of the first things investigators noticed was a foul odor emanating from the space. It was impossible to say if this was a result of more feces found inside or the mysterious stains covering the walls and carpets. It seems a minor effort had been made to control the smell by sprinkling baking soda on the rug. Police took multiple DNA swabs from the inside of the closet, collecting samples from the walls, floors, and each stain. It would take time to receive DNA results, so they also conducted a field test to determine if any of the stains were human blood. Dismayingly, while the swabs didn't immediately indicate blood, many of the stains on the walls reacted when sprayed with luminol. Fearing the worst, police opted to have a cadaver dog brought to the apartment. However, the smell of feces and trash was so overwhelming that the dog was unable to effectively alert. Police resorted to ripping out the carpet from the closet and taking it outside. In the fresh air, the dog was much more effective and alerted on the carpet right away, indicating that at least some of the stains came from human remains. This wasn't the only area that got a response. When cadaver dogs were brought to Brianna's car, they alerted in no less than 3 areas: the driver's seat, the rear seats, and trunk. When police took a closer look at the trunk of the car, they noticed that there was an unknown whitish residue on the interior. They also found a broken fingernail and an air freshener jammed into the trunk lid, which likely came from the package found in the Ivy Street house. The vehicle had a pervasive scent of cleaning chemicals. Despite the car wash, they also located some reddish dirt on the underside of the vehicle that matched the soil on the dirt road in Alabama. There was now no way to deny it. This was no longer a missing persons case, but rather an investigation into a death. Brianna's mother had feared this outcome all along.
What's your honest opinion on what you think is going on?
Okay. To be honest, I think she flipped the switch.
What would really make her flip the switch? She have a temper problem?
I never witnessed it.
Are you aware of it though, whether you witnessed it or not? You were aware of it? Of her having a temper problem, even though you're saying you haven't witnessed it, are you aware that she has one? What makes you think she flipped the switch?
So I would say just speaking with her dad. He just told me. He just said, she gets angry at like the simple things. He just asked her to tell his girlfriend thank you, and she got so mad that she just blocked him on all social media and completely stopped talking.
Police planned to place Brianna under arrest on November 12th, following a final gruesome discovery. The charges she faced at this time were child neglect and providing false information to law enforcement officials. Her chief was sent to pick her up on base and bring her to the police station for booking. However, no matter what he may have expected, what happens next is so shocking, it must have shaken him to the core.
I hate watching bad news. Stuff like that on the news, and I hate going back and forth with it, with everything's going on. But now they're saying that you're a person of interest now. I mean, oh, shit. Open the door. Oh shit, you all right? Should I have some napkins or something? You okay? Take that. I don't know why they were saying that. Let's take a sip.
It was quickly becoming obvious that something was wrong with Brianna, but the chief could not have possibly predicted how dire the situation was about to become.
I don't know why. I don't know why exactly they would say something like that. You need to go back to your room and lay down and everything. Say it again. Hey, you gotta say something. Say something. You need to go to medical. Williams, are you okay? Williams, you need to go to medical. You want me to take you to medical?
There was only so long the chief could wait for a coherent answer before he decided he needed to take action, and it wasn't a moment too soon, because what was coming would likely stay with him for the rest of his career, if not his life.
Sorry. Take it to the ER. All right. No, Williams, talk to me, Williams, talk to me.
Just minutes later, as the pair were en route to the hospital, the worst happened.
Faint pulse. Oh, no. Oh my God. No, you're not gonna go. No. Fuck. Come on. You ain't going on me like that. Come on. Shot.
The chief arrived at the Navy base emergency room just moments after Brianna's massive seizure, and she was still deemed to be in critical condition. There was only so much the doctors could do without knowing what was wrong with her. Brianna slipped into a coma and was placed on life support. Her condition was determined to be unstable. While Brianna's fate was up in the air, elsewhere other questions pertaining to the investigation were finally being answered. Police finished downloading the GPS data from Brianna's car. It confirmed what they suspected based on her phone records, showing that she had made 3 back-and-forth trips to the Linden, Alabama area between October 31st and the very early hours of November 3rd. Police retrieved video of Brianna getting gas along the route she took, though it was impossible to tell if Taylor was in the car with her due to the vehicle's tinted windows. They also found evidence that Brianna had stopped at a car wash on November 4th. Security footage from the business didn't show anyone else in the car with her. Most significantly, the GPS proved that Brianna's mother, Carissa, had been telling the truth. The GPS showed that while Brianna had gotten close to her mother's residence, she had not driven there. It also showed that on her final trip to Alabama, she'd spent almost 20 minutes on an out-of-the-way dirt road and wasn't far from the cemetery where Brianna's grandmother was buried. Obviously, police wanted to know why and assembled a search team consisting of police, medical professionals, and dogs to go and search just outside Linden, Alabama for themselves. The area was divided into quadrants to be excavated and sifted through. While a cadaver dog searched the area, it didn't take long for the investigators to uncover some tragic results. Partially buried in a shallow grave, police found a trash bag wrapped in a shower curtain containing a children's t-shirt covered in decomposition stains. But it was about to get worse. Just yards away, the first bones and bone fragments were found. Most of the skull was found a short distance away, along with a clump of human hair that might have been Taylor's. The remains had been scattered and seriously damaged by animal activity. As a result, police were only able to recover a small portion of what they suspected to be Taylor's body. However, they would have to wait on DNA testing to prove it, since the remains were almost completely skeletal. Police were pretty sure about how the body came to be in Alabama, but the only person who could confirm their theory was Brianna, and she remained in critical condition. A search of Brianna's quarters on the Navy base led investigators to believe that Brianna had ingested laundry detergent. Once they knew what they were treating her for, doctors were able to more effectively intervene and saved Brianna's life. Once she was discharged from the hospital, she was brought back to the police station and given one more chance to tell her side of the story.
Do you drink coffee or anything? You want coffee? Soda, water? Nothing? Okay.
Just like before, Brianna quickly made herself as comfortable as possible and appeared to try to go to sleep. This time, though, she only had to wait about 20 minutes before detectives came in to talk with her.
Brianna? Good morning. I need to sit up and go over some paperwork again, okay? Then I'm gonna go over the rest of your rights with you, okay? And I want you to just acknowledge that you understand. You do not have to make a statement or say anything. You understand that? I'm gonna need a yes or no, okay? Is that a yes? Okay.
The detectives advised Brianna of the rest of her rights once again.
Hey Brianna, did the nurse assist you with your throat issue that you were telling me about at the hospital?
A little bit. Does it feel better today? Not complete. Are you normally just quiet all the time, just real low key, don't do a lot of talking? I am too. I'm kind of shy. Can you tell? Can you tell? All right. First, we need to have a good conversation. So I'm gonna need you to sit up from that thing over there and stop leaning on that wall and talk to me, okay? Look at me when I'm talking. We've had an investigation going on for a while. Our investigation has led us to some things in Alabama, okay? And what we need to do today with you is we need to talk about what's going on out there. Now, where in Alabama are you from? Are you from Alabama? Is that a yes? You got to say yes or no to me, okay? I can't have head dialogues and we can't have misunderstanding. Are you from Alabama?
I don't want to talk.
You don't want to talk? Okay. You're tired, you don't want to talk. So you don't want to talk to the police at all? Okay.
With that anticlimactic end to the interview, Brianna followed her pattern of behavior throughout the case and went back to sleep. Ultimately, police didn't need Brianna's cooperation in order to answer their remaining questions. 4 days after this failed attempt to speak with Brianna, on November 25th, DNA testing proved the remains found in the Alabama woods belonged to Taylor. As a result, Brianna was now facing charges of murder. Due to the poor condition of the remains and the fact that the searchers were only able to recover about 10% of Taylor's skeleton, it was impossible to determine a cause of death. However, analysis of her tooth enamel and skull showed evidence of serious malnutrition. They also couldn't provide an exact time of death and were only able to say that the little girl had passed anywhere from several weeks to several months ago, between May and November 2019. Given that the rate of decomposition is dependent on the size of the human and environmental factors, decomposition can start as early as 24 hours after death or as late as 72 hours after death. In conditions where the body isn't exposed to the sun and is in a climate-controlled environment, it would take at least 4 weeks for the body to begin to skeletonize. In this particular case, Taylor was a small, malnourished child and covered with a plastic shower curtain. This would slow down the rate of decomposition by locking in moisture and protecting the remains from bugs and direct sunlight. The issue of knowing the rate of decomposition in this case is the variable of animal activity, which could expose the remains to the elements at different rates. If her remains had no indication of animal activity, were wrapped in plastic and placed in the shallow grave shortly after time of death, it could take over 30 days to begin to see skeletonization. It's a very real possibility that the little girl starved to death, locked in a closet by her mother and left to waste away in filth. The reason for the stains on the closet walls would remain a mystery, though, without a determined cause of death. In September 2022, Brianna pled guilty to second-degree murder. Though her attorney repeatedly requested she face a reduced sentence due to her exemplary military record, she was sentenced to life in prison. Though her incarceration will do nothing to bring her daughter back, at least justice for the innocent little girl was served.
Whew. Okay, y'all. Ooh, Lord have mercy. That was a lot. We made it through it, y'all. We made it through. My God. Like, I literally only, I didn't actually look at the entire video. I just looked at some of the beginning part, and then I read a little brief intro of it online. You know, so once I found the video and stuff, I'm like, okay, I can just do this because they got they got the trial that's on there. I will post that trial in my on my community wall if anybody is interested. How that went, and a couple of other videos that I actually had downloaded. I'll go on and upload it onto my community wall. But yes, rest in heaven, baby Taylor. Child, that mama, she gave me a whole slight headache. Like, with all that lying. She lied so much she couldn't even say nothing else. She couldn't even say nothing else, y'all. Nothing at all. Very sad case. I hope she gets some mental help. Because she need it. She needs some help. I mean, I've seen some parents just like have no type of remorse, you know, with the things that they have done to their children, but hers just hit different for some particular reason. You know, most of the time when folks get caught or whatever, you know, they just don't react that way. You know, she was just acting like it was nothing. Seriously, like it was nothing. But if it's nothing, then what you hiding it for? What you lying about it for if it's nothing? You see what I'm saying? Like, man, she definitely needs some help. So I wanted to ask y'all a question. Also, y'all please hit the like button when you come in or right before you leave. I really appreciate y'all coming in tonight. I wanted to do this small little video and want to ask y'all a question. Do any of y'all or have any of y'all ever been in a fraternity before? Anybody? So it's this. Yeah, she definitely Ms. Love, she definitely completely checked out. Completely. No. Andrea said she had to been dealing with some mental illness to do something like that. Yes, it was just, man, it was crazy. Okay, y'all say no. So, okay, I got this video that I came across. I came across one video and I probably looked at part of it, and then other videos just started popping up. So I'm like, if I'm gonna look at one, I'm just gonna look at one with the family and see what it's all about, because I've never been on a fraternity either. So I'm real curious about you know, the behind the scenes and, you know, people that used to be in the fraternity, you know, like how things was and stuff like that. So I want to be able to play this woman's story. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and end the live. And let me see what Candy say. Depression from the looks of that apartment. Yes. She didn't care. She just did not care at all. At all. Yeah, Cancer. It must, I know it got to be a lot of stuff going on, you know, with that. So I wanted to just share this video with you all. Share her story. She denounced her Delta fraternity. I wanted to see what's going on with this. I get kind of nosy sometimes. So I just try to go up out of the box and wanted to get into something a little bit lighter because I know that stories like that can actually, you know, affect different people in different ways. So let's try to bring it back to the educational purposes only, you know, and try to bring it down a little bit. So here we go. Thank you all for being here.
Back with another YouTube video. So in this video, I actually brought my friend Crystal on to share her denouncing testimony. But before I actually get into the testimony, if you have not already, hit the subscribe button, grow one time for the one time. Whew. So like I said, I am Lala, and I'm actually from Arlington, Texas. Hey, Egg Town. Yep, that's my hood. I crossed into Delta Sigma Theta in spring of 2008, and I denounced in fall of 2021. And so I was a Delta about 12 or 13 years. I was chapter president. I was stepmaster. I was the Delta known on campus, but the Lord called me out. And so I had to leave my whole life with Delta and say yes to my life with Jesus. And so that's what the Lord is charging us all to do, is leave our life with this organization and say yes to Jesus. And so I brought my friend Crystal on to share her very, very powerful testimony. And so, Crystal, thank you so much for saying yes to God. I'm super, super excited for you to share your testimony. And shout out to the shirt that you are wearing. You are pursuing Jesus all 2024. That is a shirt from my line that the Lord has blessed me with. And so we thank God that you are pursuing Jesus by sharing your testimony. Okay, you're sharing that you are free in Jesus' name. And so my first question is, how were you introduced to Greek life?
So, well, praise God for this opportunity and thank you for this. I pray that God is glorified. So, first question, how was I introduced? So, I was a first generation college student. So, I went into college not knowing anything about Greek life or what all it would entail at all. So, I was very naive. So, when I first went in, you know, they have the Meet the Greeks. So, that's where everybody come together, all the D9 organizations, they stroll, they step, do their chants and whatnot. So I'm like, that planted a seed for me. So I'm like, wow, you know, that seemed cool. And like I said, I never had anyone in my family or anything that was Greek, so I didn't know anything about it. I went to University of Southern Mississippi, by the way, and I went in 2012. So my freshman year of college, I was introduced to a mentor in some program I was in. And so my mentor, she called me randomly like, hey, you know, I'm your mentor. I'll be helping you. You know, anything you need, let me know. We'll meet up on certain days, etc. So I said, okay, cool. Okay, so we met, started meeting up, and she eventually kind of fell off. And I was like, she stopped calling. She stopped texting me. It was weird. And so I'm like, okay, I don't know, maybe she's busy. So towards the end of that semester, she actually came out as a Delta. So I'm like, wow, like she was becoming a Delta this whole time. And so I'm like, that makes sense why she stopped hitting me up and stopped calling and texting. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, okay, I started watching her. So she came out in 2012. So I started watching her. And of course, she was my mentor. So I'm like, that seemed like something be nice for me. Like, I think I could do something like that. Then I found out that my cousin, her auntie was a Delta as well. And that was unbeknownst to me. And so when I gave her, like, I told her I was interested basically. And she was like, yeah, I crossed Mu, which was the chapter that I crossed. And that was back in 1990, whatever it was. So it was a long time ago. And so she was like, yeah, you should definitely do it. You know, it's a great opportunity. You know, it's so much fun. So I'm like, okay, you know, cool. Mind you, she was the first lady of a church as well. So just keep that in mind. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So then the next year came around. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to become a Delta? So I started doing all my research and started getting all my credits together. And I'm like, okay, I need money too. So I need to definitely try to get me a good job so that way I can pay for this. That was kind of how the seed was planted. When the year before I actually did it was, I pledged in 2015. So around 2013, they had another line. So I'm like, oh my God, how did they miss? Like, how did I miss this? And they didn't have a new line. Like, I need to know what's going on. Like, when can I go to the interest meetings and all these different things? So, like I said, I didn't know how this worked. So I had a friend as well that freshman year. She was interested in joining a sorority as well, which she was interested in Zeta. So you know how we would talk and just say, you know, girl, you got to do this, you got to do that, etc. So she started telling me, because she pledged in 2014. So she was like, you need to start going to the interest meetings. Well, it was like just programs basically at that time. So you need to start going to the programs, their events. You need to start speaking to them, get to know them so they can get to know you. So I'm like, okay. She started telling me a little bit about her process and whatnot. So I kind of knew a little bit about what it may take to become a Delta, but I didn't know everything it entailed. So I'm like, okay, that's something I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do. 2014, the summer before I pledged, I said, I'm giving me a good job. I'm taking classes over the summer. I'm about to stack my money up so I can, you know, pledge and I have my money together. That year, that was basically how I was introduced to it.
Okay, now keep going. Okay, so old girl put you on game on how to be in the know, and then so you started going to the event, right?
Yes, I started going to the events. Community service was a big thing as well. You had to go to community service, get your name out there. If they were doing fundraisers or something, you needed to give to that, speak to them. Sometimes they would speak to you back, sometimes they didn't. It just depends on the girls. And I was looking up to them like, you know, this would be great for me. You know, I'm a first generation college student. I think it'll be great for networking opportunities. It'll look good on my resume. I'm a social worker. I like to help. I like to help people. So basically, this is something I could do. I started going to all the events and getting to know them. At the community service events, it would be like, it wasn't discreet because they'll post it on their actual Instagram page of where you need to meet up. But when you got there, you didn't know like where you were going. So when we got there, they'll line us up, and I didn't drive at that time. So they'll put you in a car with someone that was driving, and then you'll just have to follow them basically where we were going. So you wouldn't know where you're going. So you just have to keep up with the girls. And if you got lost, you just got lost, and you probably wouldn't go make that community service event. So I was like, okay, this is weird. Like we would get to the community service events, like we would all stand in line, it'd be quiet, it would be very awkward. No one would really say anything. And some of the girls that were already in the sorority, they would come around, you know, ask you your name and do you know who this such and such person is with me? It was like slick hazing, but it wasn't hazing. So they were like, they never really picked on me or anything for whatever reason. I'm like, okay, you know, it's cool. It's nothing really wrong with it. It's a public service organization. So what could be so wrong? Basically, when I started going to all the events, they would pick certain girls that they would like haze on the slick, ask them questions, tell them to do certain things, but they never told me anything. So I'm like, okay. When we actually went to the interest meeting, because the actual flyer, it was hidden. So someone took a picture of it and they spread it around, and the girl that I was friends with, she sent it to me, but she didn't make that line or whatever. So they ended up not having a line in 2014, but in 2015, that's when that flyer came out. So I'm like, oh my God, I gotta be there. You know, I want this. I started doing all my research more, like just looking at different YouTube videos and stepping and all types of things, just going down a rabbit hole. I went to the interest meeting, and it was so many girls there, like so many. And I was like, oh my God, like it's kind of intimidating, you know, with so many there. And then the girls are like, they were being nice, like at some of the community service events, but now it's just like, oh no, it's on now. Like they looking at you upside your head, and they like, you want to be a Delta or whatever. And it's kind of like, what can you do for us type of thing. When I go into there to the actual room where there's everybody there, you have to make sure you have everything for your, well, they tell you everything you need for your package or whatever. And so I had already had like my community service hours, and I had my money together. So I'm ready. I had a friend who was also interested as well. So we were all just kind of there together, but we weren't there together. It's kind of like you can't tell anyone that you're interested, even though we kind of know you're interested because you're there. So, okay, so we go, they tell us everything we need. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting everything down, what I need, how much I need, etc. So then I go back to the first lady, which was also like an auntie to me. She said she could write my letter. Well, no, she wasn't. She couldn't write my letter. She was not active. She knew someone that could write it for me. So she gave me all the questions, like everything I needed to know for the interview. So I'm like, okay, good. Like I'm in there. So basically, I studied the questions, wrote out my answers, just went over everything I wanted to say in the interview. So when I got to the actual interview, it was like very dark. Like it was weird because they're all just sitting at a table, and like you go up in there, it's very awkward, and it's like they ask you the questions, just sit there. Like they really don't care what you're saying, honestly, but I guess some of them are taking notes, and it's just like, you know, next question. And it's like everybody coming in and out, and then some of the girls are standing in the building just waiting for their turn to go. So it was very dark around that time. I felt kind of weird, but I was like, okay, you know, this is probably just what comes along with this. I never knew anything about it other than like TV shows and whatnot. So okay, I'm going through the process. Next thing you know, we all waiting for like our calls and whatnot. And I knew a few girls that were also interested, and we were kind of friends. So we were all waiting for our calls around the same time, and we would all step out to get our call. And I was like, oh my God, I made it. Like I finally got my call. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm in there. And so basically they tell you like, you need to meet here on this day at this time, what you need to wear, or not what you need to wear, what you maybe need to bring and things of that nature. So I'm like, okay. So
was this the above ground or underground meeting?
This the above ground. Like basically you made it, meet the other girls. So it was 40 girls that actually made it. And somehow I think the one of the girls, she was pregnant. So they started telling her like some things that she may need to do, but she ended up, I guess she decided she wouldn't be able to do that. So she had to drop like right then and there. When we actually had our meeting, our line was very like, we gonna get this, we gonna make it. It's been 2 years since they had a line. Like we gonna stand on business and make sure we gotta do whatever we gotta do to get this. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm just like, whatever we gotta do, I'm gonna do it. So I wasn't afraid of anything that I may have to do, but I didn't know what all I had to do. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So when I first went in, they introduced themselves as the Minerva Circle. So I'm like, why are they called Minerva Circle? Like that's weird. But I didn't say anything. So I'm like, okay, whatever, Minerva Circle. It's like they flipped the script on us. Like, you know how they were always just kind of being nice. They lined us up outside and they was like, take this out your hair. Why you got these braids in your head? Da 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 da. So they just started going in on this. And it was like, what the heck just happened? So they was like, you know, you got to take that out your head, right? Because I had some braids in. So I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know I could have that. So I just like, okay. And so that night I took my braids out. And then after that actual meeting, like I said, my line was very headstrong. They wanted to make sure we did whatever we had to do to become a Delta. So we had some girls that they would say been trying to be a Delta since 1913. She became one of the girls. She became the president of the line. So she texted everyone that same night after our first meeting, and she was like, "Hey, we need to all meet over here at this time, and y'all need to wear all black." So I don't know if they had told her to tell us that, but this is what she told us. So I'm like, okay. So I had it. I got whatever I needed for that evening, and we ended up meeting at this girl's house. And mind you, it's 39 of us, so we're in a 1-bedroom apartment. And so we get there. The girls, I guess they found out we were there. I don't know. It was a lot of mind games. So I'm assuming they told her to tell us to meet there. And then when they got there, they said, why y'all all meeting up? So it was kind of weird. So when they got there, they was like, who told y'all to meet up like that? They started just giving us all the rules. Like it was basically a purification thing. So you had to take out your hair if you had hair in your head, take off your nails if you had nails. You needed to have all white underwear, right underneath your regular clothing. You needed to have black when we meet. You need to get off social media. You need to delete some pictures off your social media to make it seem like you've been online longer than you've been online for whatever reason. So it was just a lot of mind games. Like my spirit was always unsettled, but it was just me thinking like maybe it's just my nerves, and whatever I got to do, I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to go through whatever this process is. So then they were like, y'all, like I said, all the rules basically say what all we needed to do, what we needed to wear. Then they started telling us like, you can't eat any fast food. You need to eat healthy. You need to be working out. Like we didn't really have time to work out. So they just started telling us all type of stuff. You need to get to know all your sisters. Y'all gonna become one, basically. And so we're like, okay. We did whatever we had to do. They told us how often we were gonna have to meet up. Like I said, we were all in this 1-bedroom apartment. So we started calling this 1-bedroom apartment the headquarters where we would always meet. Then they broke us down into different houses. So maybe 5 or 6 girls would be at one house, 5 or 6 girls would be at another house. And it was just so many houses where they broke it down. So where, this is the house that you're supposed to go to after you leave class. So they started telling us like after class, go straight home, study, don't go to the cafeterias, don't take any elevators. You need to take the stairs. If you're going to the library, don't be on the first floor of the library. You need to go to the 5th floor. It was just all types of crazy stuff. And so you just don't need to be seen, period. And so it's like you fall off the face of the earth and then you come back as a Delta. So on the line, during the process of us pledging, it was so many like rumors and different things, like people trying to get us, like our line dropped. Yeah. Then they were like, oh, the Sigmas know about y'all. How the Sigmas know about y'all. The Alphas know about y'all. Da, 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 da. All this crazy different stuff. So it was just like, okay, I'm going to do whatever. I'm not worried about all this. I'm going to just do what I got to do and just finish this process. And so like the first night they were asking us, this is after we had our actual meeting, above ground meeting. That night we met at the headquarters. They were like, do y'all want to go through a process? Do you want a process, basically? And so I didn't know what a process was. So I'm just like, do we want a process? So I asked my friend, like, what is a process? So she told me basically what that would look like and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, I'm down for whatever. I'm not scared, whatever we got to do, I'm gonna do it. So everybody was like, we're gonna do a process. So, and it was kind of be like, want a process, they're gonna look at you crazy anyway. They're like, okay, cool, we're gonna give y'all a process. Y'all not gonna be cats, quote unquote, which is lacking courage, aspirations, and truth. I think is what it is. So okay, then we ended up meeting up like below ground, underground. We met at one of the big sisters' houses. It was like far off in the woods somewhere. Mind you, we're in Mississippi, so it's like nothing but backwoods. Yeah, like her house was like way out, so she was like in the country. So that's where we met up the first night. So that first night we were doing all type of things, which we would say like exercises, things like watching TV, which would be like planks, holding our knee up, like holding it is what they call it. Just different things, like just putting us through like we're in boot camp or something. That first night they were like, okay, we're gonna start trying to give y'all a little bit of the probate show. And so during that first portion is what they call a death march coming in. So we all link up to each other and we would death march and our whole body would have to go to the side. So, but they were like, we're not gonna do that part yet. We're just gonna make y'all drop like a squat. So I'm like, okay, mind you, we done did all these other exercises. I'm tired. And we couldn't eat as much anyway. So I'm like, were instances where I would kind of pass out sometimes. So I was mindful of that. So as we were doing all these different exercises and I hadn't ate anything as much. And so I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm about to pass out. So they were like, drop, we'll squat, stand up, drop, squat, stand up. And we just kept doing it back and forth. And mind you, we're boot to coot is what they call it in a line with our other fellow line sisters or pyramid sisters, as they say. I just kind of fell down after that. Like after they kept telling me to drop, stand, I kind of fell down. They was like, get out the line, get out the line. So they bring me inside and they were like, you want to drop? Do you want to drop? I was like, no, like I haven't eaten anything. I'm tired. And I was like, I feel like I was about to pass out is what I'm telling them. So somehow one of the big sisters must have told the other pyramid sisters that I wanted to drop line. So everybody's mad at me thinking that I wanted to drop the line, saying that if I drop line, everybody else is gonna be dropped too. And so I'm like, I never said that. Like, I just said I'm tired. So it was like, what? And so I ended up having to explain that to the other girls on the line, like, hey, I never said that. Like, why would they tell y'all that? And it was just like a lot of mind games being played. But they keep telling us, like, y'all need to be one. Y'all need to get along. Y'all need to get to know each other. And so we were always like, okay, if the big sisters ask us anything, even if we didn't know it, we're going to say we'll find out, or we'll just make something up, basically. So we'll always say we're going to be strong against them. And it kind of became a like a force against each other. Like, we were kind of against the other line. We were always gonna be together. So after that was just a lot of mind games on that end. We would do things like duck walking, where we would hold our ankles and walk around quacking, and they would teach us different things as far as like let things roll off your back, because that's what a duck does.
Y'all had a duck process. So this is something I want to clarify for the viewers, that some deltas actually have like a duck process, which is a separate process, which is dedicated directly towards ducks. So we didn't have a duck process, but there are chapters that do have duck processes, and y'all had good, because I always wanted to know about a duck process. Keep going.
Yeah. So they actually made us hold our ankles and walk around as a duck and quack and teach us the different things. I can't remember everything as far as like what all the different things mean, but we would have to quack and we would hold bricks, different things. Like, they would make us hold our Minerva, tell us that we have to look up to Minerva, because Minerva is held at a higher standard or something like that. And it was just a lot of different things. They would just tell us about Minerva, basically, like kind of teach us about her and why we reverence her in a way. So it was kind of weird, but I never thought too much into it. Mind you, I was, brought up in church, but I never really had like a full relationship with God to understand. I just had religion, basically. So all of this kind of felt weird, but it didn't feel too weird to me. It was just kind of like, this is what you have to do to get through this. And so that's what I did. And it was a lot of confusion, animosity, like against like us and the other line. Like, it was just a lot. Like, the line that brought us in, they were like clicked up in their line. And so some of their other line sisters didn't even know what was going on when they was bringing us like through the process underground. So that caused a lot of confusion amongst them too. So also during that process, it was like I said, mind games. So one night we got gifts. We got gifts. So after they did they whole little, whatever we do, our exercises, quote unquote, they gave us gifts. So they told us to stand up against a wall, turn our back towards them, and they started bringing in all our gifts. So we thinking like, what's about to happen? Like, they got all the lights off in the room. They got us against this wall. Like, what's going on? Next thing you know, they like, turn around. So they give us gifts. So these are our pyramid gifts. So they give us all these different gifts. So it's like, oh my God, like they gave us gifts. Like, it makes you feel like sisterly and whatnot, because they give you some of your favorite candies, whatever it may be. They give you little ducks and all these different things. So I'm like, okay. Then that's when they flipped the script again. We got wood that night.
Oh, and they do that too.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, they do that.
Yeah. And I think they gave like the ace and the tail the most licks. But I think they gave my number was 6.
Okay.
So they probably gave me about 6 licks, probably. I don't think they gave me that many, but they gave them those 2 the most, I know. And so after that, it was like, oh my God, like we just got wood. Like, I had to soak that night. I was like, oh my God, like it was crazy. Like I said, when we were in those different houses, we were trauma bonding. So we were just like getting to know each other. Like, we got to be strong, y'all. Just different things going on. We had like an Odyssey trip, where we would just kind of talk about a lot of our trauma during that time. Also do some of the same things that we were doing underground. Like, the advisors, they were there, but like they just kind of turned a blind eye to whatever's going on. And they're older women too, so it's kind of weird to me, but they don't really care, honestly. Also, like I said, during that trip, that we're doing a lot of talking about different things like we've been through, and some of us are connecting based on that type of stuff. So it's trauma bonding.
Can I ask you before we go on? I want to bring it back to the whole thing about the wood. So you don't know anything. You come in. So my situation is different than yours. I already knew we had to take wood. I already knew what it was, but you don't know anything about the underground process. You don't know anything about above ground either. You don't know anything about what it takes to be a delta. Right. So when you pull out that wood, how did you come to grips with
agreeing to do that?
Mhm. They just told us like this is what we have to do. I don't think they gave us like a full explanation to why. They're just kind of like this is what happens basically. It's like basically saying that you're made and you're not on paper. So I was like, okay, I want to be made. Like I don't want to be cat and I don't want to be all these different things. So I'm gonna go through the process to be made. And then like I'm just going through the works of everything. It's just so much going on. I'm sleep deprived and I'm just trying to get through the process basically. Like because we're learning so much information, trying to take in everything on top of doing our class work. And it's just like I'm just gonna do whatever to just get it over with. So I know one night during the process as well, one of my former line sisters, she was driving us because the big sisters they were driving us to the actual location where we're gonna be doing the underground process, but the fellow pyramid sisters would drive us back home to our houses. So one night we were all so tired, like we had been online for a while now. I don't know, we were all in the car, we just driving back, we're falling asleep, and I just wake up and I'm like, we're on the wrong side of the road. I call her name, I was like, we're on the wrong side of the road. And she's like, oh my God, like everybody calm down. Like she was asleep, but she wasn't asleep. She was just driving. And I'm like, oh my God, we could have died that night. Like it was that serious. Like we was on the wrong side of the road. And thank God it was like maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. No one was actually on the roads. But we were driving on the wrong side of the road. And that was just crazy to me. I was like, man, we could have lost our lives. Like that's crazy. No one really thought too much of it. So we made it home safely, thank God. God, grace, and His mercy was really on us because so many people had car accidents and wrecks, and you were still, they were still looking forward to you to be at the actual meetup place, which was crazy. Like we're supposed to be sisterly, making sure we're doing okay and doing good, but y'all don't care if we get in a wreck. Like
my Lord, and that's normal too. I want to just highlight that's normal.
Yeah,
like the car wrecks, driving on the wrong side of the road, falling asleep. I fell asleep at a red light. I had my foot on the brakes and I fell asleep while I was online. And I was asleep for like a long time because when I woke up, it was cars that were like literally turned out to go around me. And somebody knocked on my window for me to wake up. And I woke up and I was like frazzled, didn't realize I fell asleep at a red light, literally with my foot on the brakes.
Wow. Yeah.
Had I moved my foot, like I would have drove out into oncoming traffic and probably would not have been here. We don't know what would have happened, but that's normal though. Like if I would have gotten a car wreck online, that's normal. That's what that's what profiles will tell you. Oh, we got in a car wreck, line before we got in a car wreck. Like, so it's not a big deal, but that is a big deal.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah. And one other thing I want to like point out as far as like the process. So I thought this was really weird, I would say. So the president of the line, she told us like, hey, we got to learn this poem. And so the big sisters, one of the big sisters came over that night. And so this poem was written by an atheist, right? It's called Invictus, which you probably are aware of it. And it says, out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. And in the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the burgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. So I'm like, but I'm not though. Like what? And then I'm like, why would it say, I think whatever gods may be? I only serve one true living God. And that's what I was thinking, like, why would we have to say that? And I feel like this poem is not, I understand they try to say, oh, it's so you can go through all these different things and know that you can get through this and you got this, and all the D9 organizations, they have to learn this. And it's not like by coincidence that we all have to learn this. I feel like that is very intentional. And so you have to learn this, get this in your mind, drill this in your head, be able to recite this. And if they would say, if other D9 members see you, meet you, and you don't know this, then you can't. So I'm just like, that was very weird, because I'm like, I don't like that. And I don't know why we had to learn that. But of course, we just did it and got through with it.
So you go through all of this, right? All this weirdness.
You finally crossed.
Yeah.
So how was it when you crossed into Delta?
Like, I was happy. I was excited. I'm like, I'm a Delta now. Like, I'm about to run the yard. Like, I'm just so excited. And I'll tell you this: the first time I posted my first picture at Alpha Line, somebody just randomly commented on my picture, and he was like, "So you're part of Illuminati now?" Sir, what? What do you mean? Why would you say that? I was like, what? I hurry up and deleted that quick because I was like, why would he say that? Like, what? That ain't got nothing to do with this. So I'm very offensive at this point. Like, what? Okay. So I'm like, okay, whatever. That was weird. And God actually brought that back to my remembrance as well, because I forgot all about that. Then, so after that, I'm excited. Like, we traveling, we going to different campuses, you know, we being out, as they say. We going to like kickbacks. We partying with the noobs. We partying with the bros. So I'm just having a good time. And so I was very excited. I would say that. So and then also, like, a lot of bad stuff just started happening out of nowhere. Mind you, when I crossed, I was in a relationship with a guy, which is my child's father. And so he was excited for me. But as soon as I crossed, he was like, "You changed." I was like, "What? How? No, I didn't. I didn't change at all. What do you mean?" I'm like, "You just jealous. You just jealous because I'm a Delta now and you not a part of anything. I'm hanging out with all the different people, blase, blase. You jealous. That's all that is." So after that, I was living in student apartments. When I crossed, I think it's like maybe a few weeks, not even probably a few weeks later, I got kicked out of my apartment. So I had some situations, some problems going on with my roommates at the time, and my ex-boyfriend, and they didn't like him coming over, etc. And the apartments told me he was not supposed to be there, and if they found out he was there, I would be evicted. So I ended up trying to call myself, sneaking him in one night. The people, I guess we came in at that time, I was battling with just smoking marijuana with him and things of that nature. And so we came in, we was reeking weed, like you could smell it off our clothes. They must have called the security. They came down, beating on our door. "Oh, he gotta go. You gotta go." So he kicked him out, called the police on him. He went to jail. Then they told me I was being evicted. And I'm like, oh my God, like, where am I gonna go? I don't have anywhere to go. I just spent all my money to pledge. Like, I just paid my rent up for a few months. I don't have anywhere to go. I'm like, y'all gonna give me my money back? So they ended up giving me my money back, but I had to find somewhere to live because I didn't have anything. Like, I was living in student apartments. I didn't have any furniture or anything. So I ended up finding like a little 1-bedroom apartment in these little raggedy neighborhood. It was a raggedy neighborhood. I didn't have nothing. My line sisters at the time, former line sisters, they gave me a bedroom set. And I was like, look at God blessing me through them. Like, I felt so blessed. Like, I was like, thank God I have them. But everything just started just unfolding slowly. Like, I started just going through a lot of different things. Like, even when I moved into that 1-bedroom apartment, we would have this like meeting. I can't remember what it was called. Like, when all the girls on the line meet up to kind of hash things out amongst each other. They met there that night in my 1-bedroom apartment with nothing. I didn't have anything, no furniture. We all on the floor talking about different things. And so it was a lot of like arguing, trying to fight each other. It's just a lot of conflict amongst each other on the line. And so they was like, we got to do better and different things like that. We got to stop that. We can't be like the line before, because the line before, they were the same way. So there's like, y'all, we can't keep going through this same cycle, not knowing that this is really not of God. And also, one thing I want to mention too, when we were online, we would listen to this one gospel song. It was called "Hold On, Change Is Coming." You know that song? And we was like, hold on, y'all, we're gonna make it. Every time we would hear that song, it would kind of remind us of like what we went through and whatnot. And so that was just something I wanted to put in there as well. But like I said, it was just a lot going on. But even through all of that, we were still partying. We used to host this big event on campus called, it was Q Delta Week. And we would have the biggest party in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So I'm like, y'all, we got to get right. We got to do this, We got to make sure the bros ain't stealing our money. Like, I was working for the chapter. Like, I was really doing events. Like, one thing about me, if I'm loyal to something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to work for it. And I'm going to do what I got to do. some of the girls, they started falling out. They stopped talking to some of us. It was weird. Like some of them started going to jail. Like it was just a lot going on. I remember
Going to jail? What you mean?
one of our former line sisters, she had ended up going to jail because I think she was drinking and driving or smoking or something. It was just a lot of that going on, like partying, drinking, smoking. Like every time we turned around, like we was just smoking, drinking. I was formerly just smoking with my boyfriend at the time, but when I became a Delta, I was smoking like with whomever at that time. So it was just a lot of that going on, and she ended up going to jail. So we had to go bail her out. We all had to put money together to bail her out. I was in an abusive relationship with the same boyfriend that I had. Even he stood by me, but he stopped supporting anything that had to do with Delta. Like he would not tell me Happy Founders Day. Like he really didn't support that. He was like, I'm gonna be with you, but I don't like that what you mean. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, and it made me feel some type of way because I'm like, I'm always gonna be a Delta. Like, so if you want to be with me, you're gonna have to support me. And if not, then you could go ahead. So it was just like, I didn't care what he thought about Delta. I wanted to be a Delta. That was something I feel like I worked hard for, and that's what I did. And I'm like, now I'm a Delta. I am happy to be a Delta. Like, even when I would go to job interviews, like I wore my sweater one time that had the letters on it. This lady was like, hey, Soror. She was like, oh, you know, you good. You got a job, da, 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 da. I'm like, oh, okay. Cool. It was no issue. So it's just like, you know, it was a lot of favoritism. So if they knew you were in line or on a formal line, or if you were just in that organization, period, they would be like, oh, you good. You know, they'll look out for you once they find out you were a Delta. So I liked that as well. And even the first lady that I tell you is like auntie to me, she even pinned me to be a Delta. So she found out that I was when she know I crossed and everything, she gave me all these Delta apparel and all these different things. So I was just happy to be in the organization, period. Like I had nothing, I didn't think anything of it.
And so what happened after you graduated?
Okay, so after I graduated, I was still living in Hattiesburg at the time. So I was still going to events. I was still helping out with the chapter. We brought in some neos as well. I was still active with Delta because I was right there. I was still going to the parties and stuff. They would still give me in free different things, like because I was in Hattiesburg. So whenever I graduated, I was like, you know, I'm still gonna work for the chapter. I'm still gonna help out. I wanted to join a graduate chapter, but it just ended up not working out for me at the time, thank God. But I was still very active. Like even when I got pregnant with my child's father, the relationship that I was in, I was going to the underground process with the girls. I'm pregnant, probably about 5-6 months pregnant, and I'm still out there trying to just be out there in the midst of what's going on. And so that's how dedicated I was with just helping them in whatever way possible. Like I wanted my daughter to be a Delta.
So when it ended up happening, you moved, right?
Yeah.
You moved to Hattiesburg. So how did that happen? How did you end up moving? The Lord said he got to get you out of this sin environment. Come on, God.
Yeah, so this is what happened. Basically, my child's father and I, we broke up while I was pregnant. And so after that, during that time, I was like, I need to get back closer to God. Like, I need to get closer to God. I'm going through too much. Like, this is crazy. I can't take this no more. I need you, God, basically. And I just kind of surrendered in a sense there. So I'm like, God, I need you. Like, I'm going to get in my word, do what I need to do, start rededicating myself back to you. And so my desire to move to Houston, which is where I am now, came back all of a sudden because I wanted to move to Houston when I graduated the first time. Mind you, I had went to grad school too, so I was still in Hattiesburg for that reason. But I finished that within a year. So after that, I'm like, I'm pregnant now. I have my child. I need to do better. I want more. So I'm like, God, like I really want to move to Houston because that was the desire that I had, but I didn't do it because I was in that relationship and he didn't want to move. So I'm like, okay, you know, I kept praying about it. Like, God, you know, just give me a sign. Whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. And I was just doing little things like reading my Bible at night or just a scripture a day, little small things. So eventually I felt the urge of God, like telling me, you need to make this move. So I'm like, okay, I'm about to move to Houston. I'm about to be in the streets. I'm about to be doing something big, you know, because I'm coming to Houston. I'm excited. Girl. So I got down here. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm a Delta, but I wasn't just like, I was in the sorority for like almost 7 years before I came out. So I wasn't really doing anything much with Delta at that time when I had my daughter. But when I got here to Houston, I'm like, I need to get in a church home. I need to get in my word. Like, I still want to do what I want to do because I never knew, like, I never saw anyone actually walk the Christian walk out following God's word. So I'm thinking I can do what I want to do and still serve God. So I'm like, okay, I got here to Houston. I found me a church home. I was still doing certain things in the streets with Houston when I was able to, because of course I'm a mother now. I'm a single mother. And so I was going to church. So one day my borderline sister, she was like, you should do a fast with me. I'm like, okay, yeah, we can do a fast. You know, that's fine. You know, we were used to doing fast, but it wasn't like a biblical fast. It was just like, oh, we're gonna be off social media or something like that, and we'll just read our word and maybe a devotion here or there. So I'm like, okay, cool, we'll do that. So I'm like, okay. This was July of 2021. I'm off social media, but I would still be on YouTube, and I'm just watching certain videos on YouTube. One day, it was a video came across my page, like for you, whatever recommended videos, and it was like God spoke to me about my sorority, or God told me this about my sorority. It was one of those Della Faye testimony videos. So I'm like, I'm not interested. So like, what? I had never watched any denouncement videos or anything on my YouTube page. So I'm like, why would I don't want to see that. But mind you, I'm not around any of my line sisters at this time. I'm by myself. I'm on this fast. And so right before this fast came about, I want to mention this as well. My mom was at my house, and I had this actual, like, it was like a little something over my doorpost, and it was an elephant, and it had like God watch over this house or something like that, and it had a cross on there. And so one day, my mom just randomly walked out my door, and it fell off my wall, and the cross fell off. So I'm like, why would she slam my door that hard? Like, I gotta put this back together. So at that point, I'm just like, I gotta put this back together. It was like something representing like Delta and God as well. So I'm like, I gotta put this back up, but I laid it to the side and I never did. So when this fast came about, I'm like, why is this recommended for me to watch? I don't want to watch this. So I kept going. Next day, maybe a day or two, it was like someone was reacting to the video of the girl saying God spoke to me about my sorority. I'm like, what is this girl saying that's someone I want to react to? Like, I don't understand. I'm like, let me just watch it. So at that time, I'm watching the reaction video, and I'm like, well, he's talking too much. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear what she got to say. So I go back and I search the video. Then I say, okay, I'm going to watch that video, and then your video popped up live. And it was like Christians and sororities and fraternities.
Come on. I had the locks right here.
Yeah.
I had just got them done, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. I was like, oh, let me watch that one second. I'm going to watch that one second. So I'm like, okay. So I watched the video, and immediately the first video of her saying what God was telling her about the sorority, I became offended. I'm like, maybe she didn't know who she was. Like, I mean, we went through some of that, but it wasn't just that. Like, I don't understand what she's saying. And at that time, I just felt something in my spirit, like, just listen to what she's saying. And now I know that was the Holy Spirit. I'm like, that's weird. Like, what? And so then I watched your video. And so you started talking about all the different things as far as like the rituals. And when I don't think she touched too much on the rituals in her video, but she just kind of gave a lot of what was going on, what she experienced. So I'm like, like, that's weird. Like, I know we reverence Minerva in a way. Some of this is true, but like, what does this mean? You know, I didn't really know. I had no idea of like any spiritual things. I was very ignorant on stuff like that. So I was like, wow, this is weird. Like, this is true what she's saying. And so I think I watched some more of your videos, and you linked one with an Alpha and a Delta. And I watched that one as well. So I'm like, oh my goodness, like, is God trying to tell me I need to denounce? Like, I didn't know anyone that denounced prior to that except one person, and it was a Neo at the time. And so I'm like, let me call her and see you know, what was her actual reason for denouncing? Because at the time they just told me, oh, she was just on her spiritual journey and it wasn't right for her or whatever. It was like brushed off, you know? And I was like, oh, okay, you know, I'm not gonna question it. But also one thing too, I want to note that when I started going to my home church here in Houston, I was at a very small church and I had my Delta tag on my car. And I just felt weird one day, like, I don't want them really to know I'm a Delta, because sometimes I feel like that came with a lot of attention that I really didn't like sometimes. So I'm like, I don't really want them to know I'm a Delta, but I didn't think nothing of it. But I'm like, maybe that's why I was feeling weird. So I don't know. I know in the past, like I would go to churches and stuff, and everybody and their mama had Delta tags, all types of sorority tags. So I was very proud to be a part of it then. But in this time, I was in a season of isolation. And so I'm just like, that's weird. Like, why do I feel that way? But also after that, I'm like, okay, I text one of my friends that was actually on her journey as well with God. And so I'm like, friend, I think God is trying to tell me I need to denounce. And she was like, really? Why? And so I'm like, I don't know. I just watched this video. I just told her what was going on. And so I also called like two of my other friends they were also in the sorority as well, but we were friends too. But I knew they believed in God and Jesus. And so I'm like, let me see what they think about it. I'm like telling them what happened. They was like, well, girl, maybe it's just, you know, you need to bring more people to Christ through the sorority or something. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that's what it is. And so I'm like, this is weird. They was like, well, I don't know, you know, maybe you just need to think about it. I'm like, no, at this point, I think I need to make a decision, you know, because they was like, maybe you need to think about it. Don't make a decision too quick. And I'm like, but I feel like God is telling me something, because that night, the first night when I watched y'all video, I could not sleep at all. Like, God would not let me rest. I was tossing and turning. And God is so intentional, because that weekend, my daughter was not home. So I didn't have nothing but time to just think about whatever I watched on that video. And so I could not sleep. I said, I need to make a decision. I don't feel like this is of God. So I pulled out my ritual books and I started looking up everything in the ritual book. And I'm like, that's when I was reading through it, because mind you, we don't really go back to look through the actual ritual when you cross. It's just like, you got it, you good. That's it. And so when I looked up this one, when it was saying the president, you know, asks you certain things as far as like when we go through the actual process, and it said, you seek your own free will admission to our sisterhood, and we agree to accept you. You are about to take upon yourself vows and obligations from which you will never be free. So I'm like, why would I never be, like, why can I be free from this? Like, that's very weird. Like, why would they use that wording? And so then it also says that these vows will the final judgment. And I'm like, that's weird. So then I'm just like, I don't know. I don't think this is of God, because why would it say stuff like that? And then it kept referencing like this eternal spirit. And I'm like, who is this eternal spirit? And I'm like, this is weird. So I had made a decision. Like, I didn't fully understand everything, but I was like, I think I need to renounce and denounce this. And so that's when I started doing more research, more things just started coming about to me. Like, I just had to cry out to God, because I didn't know. And I was just like, God, like, forgive me, because I did not know any of this. And mind you, like I said, I'm in my isolation season, but before it is, my music started changing up, like different things. Like, I stopped smoking. I wasn't drinking as much, but I would still have drinks here and there. But like, things just started changing in my life before all of this happened. So I'm just like, God, I think I just need to surrender this to you, because I don't feel like I'm going to lose anything if I'm not a part of Delta. And so that's what I did. And girl, when I tell you, I started learning all type of stuff, like just so much stuff was being revealed to me. I just felt like my spiritual eyes were open at that time, and that I was so blinded to all of the stuff we were going through, what was going on. And like, even the times where we were bringing in other lines, I was saying, like, we was talking amongst each other. And I think one of the girls that we were bringing in, her mom was a Delta, but she didn't want her to go through the process. And we're like, why she don't want her to go through the process? She know what this is like this is what we do. Like, why would she want her to do this? So it was just it's very ignorant. Like, it makes you blinded to what all is going on behind, like in the spiritual realm. And you don't fully know what you're actually bowing yourself to, but it gives the enemy legal rights to actually just do whatever in your life. And I'm like, once I actually broke that down and I had to understanding of what was going on, that I gave the enemy legal rights to me when I made that covenant and bowed on that pillow and said, broke my, what, all the different things that come in with it, you know, I was giving the enemy legal rights to me. And so once I broke that, God was like, now you can fully be in me. Like you can fully, you can get everything that I have for you. And my daughter was only like 2 years old. I started learning about like the generational things, as far as like, this is Exodus 20. You must not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God and will not tolerate affection from any other gods. I laid the sins of the parents upon their children. The entire family is affected, even children in the 3rd and 4th generation of those who reject me. My daughter was throwing up the pyramid, and she was only 2 years old. When I learned like that could fall on her and all my sins can fall on her, I'm like, oh my God, like I don't want that to do that. Like I had to renounce, like I was fasting, I was praying, like God, like please protect my daughter as well. And because she was seeing those different things and she was modeling what she was seeing. And I was just like, oh my God, like I can't let this happen to her. I'm over here thinking I'm doing something good for the generation, and I'm over here putting curses on the generation. I was just like, oh my God, like God, please, like forgive me. Like I was very like tearful, just like thank you, Jesus, just for bringing this to my knowledge. And I told my former line sisters, like, I was just like, hey, I don't think this is of God, and so I'm not going to be a part of it anymore. And some of them was just like, you know, okay. You know, some of them were like, well, why now? Like, we've been in this almost 7 years. Why now? Why you want to denounce now? Some was just like, well, God bless you. Like, okay. I was just like, okay, well, you know, it is what it is. And I was actually planning to go down there that summer, well, no, that homecoming. And it was very different for me to just go down there and not be a part of the actual sorority anymore. And it's like a grieving process that you have to go through, because it's like a divorce. Like you're so used to being with these people and just learning from them and just going through life with them. We were supposed to be in this for a lifetime, but now it's like, oh, you're not in it anymore. And so I had to come to terms with like, I'm not in this anymore, but I can still go if I want to. Now I don't have a desire to go to homecoming anymore now. But that was just when I first had denounced, I was still gonna go so I could see some of them. But I didn't do any of the things that I probably would have did, like go to the clubs and all those different things. When, you know, go to homecoming, getting drunk. And I didn't have a desire for any of that anymore. And God just started changing my desires like little by little. Like I don't go to the clubs anymore. All these different things. Like it's just, he stopped. He was like, hey, this is not what I have for you. And once I fully understood that, I'm like, yeah, I want to be in God's will. I don't want the enemy to have legal rights to me to do whatever he wants to me.
Ooh, Crystal, this testimony blessing me. I don't know if you know this, it's blessing me. So what, after you came out, what additional revelations did the Lord allow you to see?
Mm-hmm.
Like when the veil was lifted, what did you start seeing and realizing?
Yeah, so when I just realized, I was looking over some of the information as far as like the rituals and whatnot. And I had to come to a knowledge when I was trying to tell some of my former line sisters, like, hey, this is not of God. Like, you know, you try to make them understand, but they don't understand. But I had to understand, like, God had to like make this clear to me. Like, if they're not on a path to just actually walking with God and trying to be in his will, and they're still in sin in all other ways, they're not going to see this. And so I said, okay, I have to come to terms with that. And when people that I had told, like one of my former special, she was one that was introduced to me through Delta, and we were still friends now. And she actually moved to Houston. And so I told her, like, hey, I don't think this is of God. I'm not in this anymore. And I just wanted to let you know. And she was like, oh my God, like, are you serious? Because I've been feeling like this as well, but I haven't said anything. I haven't made any decision. And so she actually came out by me telling her that. And God reminded me of the scripture where it says we overcome him by the word of our testimony, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so she was like, I'm so glad you brought this to me, because I've been meaning to make a decision. Like when I moved to Houston, she said she didn't take any of her elephants and everything's just been in boxes. And so she was like, I need to make a decision. I feel like this the Holy Spirit used you to come to tell me this. And I'm like, wow, okay, I'm not crazy then, because everybody else is like me think I'm crazy out here. And so I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Like, being used just in some way, someone is able to see it, because she had been on her journey with God as well. But I understood, like, if they just still doing whatever they want to do, they not really trying to walk with God in that way, they not gonna see it. And so I was okay with that. Also, in the ritual book, they talks about the different the 9 jewels, and it's like the devil is sneaky. He cannot create anything new. So he's using that like the 9 fruits of the spirit, and he just copying it. And I'm like, the devil is really slick. Like it's like he takes some things from the word, and they insert the delta into certain scriptures and whatnot. It's just like the devil is really tricky, and you have to be mindful and know, because he could, when you hear certain scriptures in that ritual book, you'll think like, oh, this is okay because they using scripture. But no, it's not. They switching up the words. They trying to make it seem like, oh, this is a Christian organization, but it's not at all, period. Once I actually broke that covenant with Delta, my relationship with Christ just changed. It grew tremendously. Like I'm fasting more. I'm in my word more. It's just like it was something that was blocking me. And it had to be that covenant, because I can't think of anything else. But at this time, I'm able to grow more in Christ. Whereas when I was in that, I was probably going to church here and there, but I wasn't really in my word like I should have been. God also, it's funny because God is funny. So it was like a full circle moment for me, because when I moved to Houston, it was in November of 2021. I pledged in November of 2015. I was rebaptized in November of 2022. And I'm just like, God is so like, it's crazy to me. But I thought I was about to come to Houston and be partying and having a good time. And God like, no, I'm about to sit you down and you about to get right, basically. And he used this as an isolation because nobody else was around me. None of my former line sisters was around me and nothing. So he was actually able to have my full attention. And I thank God for that.
Praise God. And that's similar to my testimony. I crossed in Houston. And so I was living it up at U of H. And then the Lord moved me back to Dallas. Mm-hmm. So once he moved me to Dallas, I didn't have no connections with my former sorority sisters. And it was just me and God. And he started stripping me. And then the organization had to come with the stripping as well. And so the Lord is so strategic.
He is, yeah.
You never know why he moving you or why he's doing what he's doing, but he know all along. Is there anything else that you have on your heart to say to the viewers, or are we good to wrap up a bit? I don't want no pressure, but if you got something else to say, you can definitely let it out.
Okay, I do want to just share one more scripture. It says, this is Acts 17:31. For he has set a day when he will judge the world with justice by the man he has appointed, which is Jesus. He has given proof to this to everyone by raising him from the dead. And so we're held accountable for what we know. And so once you hear this, you are accountable for it. And so I just pray that, whoever hears this, that they would know that God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of love and a sound mind. And so make the decision that you need to make. And it's not all about just, the sorority, it's all sin in general. And so I just pray whoever hears this, that your heart will be softened. And thank you.
Praise God. Thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you so much. Listen, I'm so grateful the Holy Ghost gave me your name. I'm telling you. And what did I say when I reached out? I said, you got a powerful testimony. And I don't know nothing about your testimony. The Holy Ghost said you have a powerful testimony. So we praise God for saying yes to God. This is phenomenal.
Thank you.
So did you want to share your social media information for people that maybe want to follow you or reach out, or what you want to do? You want to share?
Yeah, I can. My Facebook is Crystal Ferrell, Ferrell, and you can follow me on there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you again, Crystal, and thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Bye.
Okay, y'all. So what y'all thoughts on it? I was reading, I was up in the chat with y'all. Good night, everybody that's gone. I'm about to get ready to end this myself. I need to eat something and just finish chilling and relaxing and try to get myself prepared for tomorrow's live. But that them sororities is something else, y'all. Like, seriously, Andre, I see you on your stuff, boo, because yes, that stuff ain't no joke. Them organizations, you got to start at a certain level, and then you just, you keep building yourself up. I'm not gonna get all into that, but if y'all know what I'm talking about, y'all know what I'm talking about. Good night, Cancer. God bless. God bless. God bless everyone. I thank you all for coming. Thank you so much, Brittany. I enjoyed you all. I'm about to get ready and eat me something. I appreciate y'all. I enjoyed everybody. Child, that first little video and set up there, it worked me up, but this one it definitely brought it down for me, y'all. It brought it down for me. That first video had me all worked up. But tomorrow, Andrea, she said that she was interested in hearing the male's perspective. So I did find a couple of videos on the male's perspective. I'm gonna watch both of them and see which one that I'm gonna use for tomorrow, and then we can hear the male perspective with the fraternity. What time you going live tomorrow? I'm gonna try to go live a little bit sooner than I did tonight. So hopefully probably about like between 7. I'll say between 7 and 8. I know I started probably about 10 minutes to 10 tonight. So yeah, between 7 and 8. Like I say, it's a lot of people with a lot of new channels and stuff. So, I'm definitely, especially the new channels, all the content creators, the new content creators that has the new channels. I want to be respectful, when they're live. And I also want to be there to support them as well. So, my goal is to go live about 7 to 8, but we'll see. If it's a little sooner, I'll definitely let you all know. And I also post a lot of videos on my community wall, y'all. Like, it'd be stories that I probably would cover, but when I, pretty much try to get like the back end story on it, it's either it's not an update or, it's pretty simple, just a little story, that you might want to see. I also put movies up in there too. I just uploaded A Raisin in the Sun. That's a classic, of course. That's almost one of my favorites. They got so many different versions of it. But I think the version that I uploaded was the 1987 or 89 with Danny Glover up in it. It's one of those. I have somebody say tricky. Rebecca say, okay, I will be watching. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate you. Brittany said, yeah, I like both videos. Okay, see you tomorrow. Great live. Thank you, Brittany. Fell asleep. My bad. You good, Ange? Good night, Miss Sexy. Good night, Miss Sexy. Love you. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all just check the community wall for updates. Were there update on the son that was human trafficking? Not yet. Not yet. Nope. Not yet. I'm still trying to wait to see what's going on with that. I've been waiting. I got my stuff ready, on point. Because I want to know. Yes, indeed. Okay, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Love y'all. And don't forget, y'all keep it cute out here in these streets. Good night.